Okay, well, I'm sorry I was 20 minutes late.
22 minutes late.
Fuck off!
No. I will never fuck off. Because the last guy that said that to me, I responded with, I'll punch you so fucking hard that you speak in the third person for the rest of your life. And that is why I am no longer allowed in the state of Washington.
I don't believe for a second that you're not allowed in the state of Washington.
I that I lived up to the threat.
You hit a guy? Or got hit?
A bit of both. It was a fight, and then
Nice.
I fucking charged up my key, and I hit the guy in the head so hard that he now speaks in. Well, now he's dead, but like last year he was speaking in the third person for the rest of his life, which was 7 years after I hit him. So I mean, not bad, not bad for how hard I hit him. Like that's like remarkable, but still,
Fair enough.
yeah.
I
Anyway,
sent, I put out an everyone ping,
yeah,
so
yeah,
people know that it's time.
yeah. Anyway, welcome to come.
Oh, are we going?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Are you recording right now?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, do it while my mouth is full of cock mix. I mean, check mix.
By the way, sorry if the acoustics sound different. I just finished moving. Yay!
Hooray! Welcome to new. Not welcome to come. Welcome to new home.
Yeah,
Oh, that's great. Happy for you, buddy.
brings a whole new definition to coming home.
Yes, we are. Well, there's coming home and then there's coming at home.
Which do you do
Right
you
now, you're technically doing both.
do you come at a place that isn't home?
Yes, whenever I go come at a place that belongs to somebody else that I'm coming at in,
Well, there was that one time in the woods.
there may or may not have been a time in where I came in the woods.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you about the time I jerked off into a tornado?
What?
So we got a tornado warning several years back, and I went out into the backyard, and you could see it, and the wind was like huge, and the rain was sweeping, and I was very aroused. And
Uh,
I fucking stroked it into the like the way like so the wind is blowing against my back, and I jerked off and came, and the fucking spunk went up into the air and caught the wind and
I
flew away somewhere.
that is the funniest fucking thing I've heard all
It is
week.
it is the best orgasm I've ever had in my life.
I I spawned in a tornado. Or I guess pre-spawned in.
Respawn. I was really hoping
Pre-spawned
that
in.
somebody would join the call while I was telling that story.
Well, it might just be the two of us today, which is fine. So,
Yeah, I mean it's usually best when it's just the two of us. We have a we get up to some stuff, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So what you doing
Um,
later tonight?
what am I doing later tonight? I'm not really doing anything later tonight.
Anyone?
No, no,
Oh.
I did that earlier today. That's why I was late.
Oh, nice, 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 nice. Nice. 69.
So, fun fact. We're well aware that Obama was the first nigger president, but Trump is going to be the first nigger president.
Because he's a prisoner now?
Yes.
I hope you said that after the freedom limit or whatever freedom limit, we'll call it that now, where
Yeah, freedom limit.
where YouTube decides in like the first 5 minutes or whatever that you're not allowed to cuss. Let me hold on. Let me make sure that I'm using the right microphone. Okay, so shall we carry on? Um, Today's episode is very special. Potentially with an SH, potentially not. We'll see. Um,
Today's episode rode the short bus to get here.
anyway, uh, the two episodes that we were deliberating on watching were either a video about how you're not actually an introvert, you're just a freak.
Well, duh.
Now, I am a little. If we do that one, I would like to do a follow up response because there's another video that actually tackles the same subject that is done by a guy that actually knows his shit. He's not just some guy talking out of his ass. And I would like to cover that one because it's like, okay, here's an actual psychologist talking about it. So maybe they can actually like articulate what the guy is saying, or maybe he's actually saying something completely different because, some people actually just suck at coming up with ideas. Hold on, I should probably close my door. Hold on. The other video in question is why we shouldn't have joined World War II.
Well, depending on who you ask, and depending on what the answer
Yeah,
is,
there's a lot of people who
there's a
fought in World
really
War
good
II.
reason why we shouldn't have joined World War II, but I don't know if it's going to be the reason cited in this video.
uh, when you say we, who are you referring to, and why?
When I say we,
Mm-hmm.
when I say we, I'm referring to those of a certain heritage. And when I say why, I'm referring to those of a certain heritage.
I see.
No, 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 more like SS.
Oh, so I see.
I see.
I bet you did not see that coming. Oh, kill me. So, uh, are we gonna do the World War II video? Because I'm
I would
personally.
like to do the World War II video. I would like to do them both if we have time, but let's do the World War II video first.
Yes! Yes. Let's create the room. Okay. Let's get you into the watch together then. Um. Um.
Um, Post the link.
Hold on. Is it?
Post the link.
Oh, it's right there. Okay, yeah, that's.
Oh, it's right there.
Well, no, because like I was clicking on like the copy link thing and it just wasn't doing. So it was weird.
Fair enough. Hey, it's me, East. One of these fucking recommended videos at the bottom is just a picture of Hitler's face and it says massive mistake.
Where? Hold on. I need to see
It's in
this.
the recommended videos along the bottom of this one when you pause. I mean, it might not show up for you, but it does for me.
Oh, okay. Can you like take a screenshot of that?
Yeah, I'm doing it right now.
Because that might be the thumbnail.
Massive mistake. Was Hitler a massive mistake?
Well,
Yes.
actually, is it okay to use someone else's thumbnail and like steal that and use it as a thumbnail for a completely unrelated video? Is that
Ethically,
okay?
no. Comically, it's fine.
That's fair. That's
Because
fair.
comedy has no ethics.
That is.
No, fuck you.
I don't even know how to follow that one up. There's so many. There's so many options. So, are we ready to talk about World War II?
I'm ready to talk. I'm always ready to talk about World War II. I love World War
Awesome.
II.
Awesome. Hit.
But I'm gonna upload this screenshot into the come call real quick.
Oh, good.
Okay. Okay, you'll have to crop it yourself, but here's the screenshot of the screen.
Okay, that's pretty funny.
Yeah. I know.
Anyway, let's hit that button.
Whenever a nation goes to war, you need to justify it to your people from beginning to end, and also afterwards. Otherwise, it would appear your countrymen died for no reason.
Yeah.
I have to give you context, otherwise there won't be context.
uh,
That's a weird way to start. Why is it that every video we've covered starts with the weirdest sentence imaginable?
I don't know.
Have you noticed that trend?
Not until you pointed it out.
Okay, I've noticed that trend. Like, now this is not really like, I get it. It's pausing the video already to talk about pointless bullshit. No one said in the comments, but listen. How you start your video is like, in stand-up comedy they call it a tight five, where the first 5 minutes of your performance, and this is also true in most other forms of storytelling, but especially in comedy, which I'll equate here to video essayists because most of these people are clowns. The first 5 minutes of your set is the most important one, and you can waste nothing. No fat, no meandering, nothing. You have to be concise and quick to get your audience on your side. So the first sentence of a video being, I need to explain the backstory so that you understand the backstory, or variation of such, is a really weird and kind of pointless way to start talking.
You see, I was actually going to defend it and be like, well, we're probably going to open up a discussion on, how, wars are fought and then justified during the fact and post hoc and all that. And I was even going to like allude to the lost cause myth, because if you actually look at like the journal entries and like the dialogues, the actual like papers from the time, the reason why the Civil War happened is very different from why the Confederate veterans said it happened after the fact. You know? So it's I thought he was gonna like, set up something there, because I think that's where this video is going, but when you explain it like that, it's like, that's a good point. Maybe that should be trimmed down. Maybe that could be tightened up a little bit. So it's that's probably worth discussing. How tight should your opening be and all that stuff. See,
Yeah, I'm not speaking to the context of the video. I'm just saying like the best way to deliver your text, basically, at the start, would be to trim fat like that.
So maybe start with something a little bit more like deliberate and then say that as like a follow-up sentence.
Think of it as the difference between, what am I talking about? The I had a bit to drink before I got on the call.
Really?
Think of it like the difference between a giant squid in a tank showing up into the Emperor's palace and saying, "I want you to kill the Atreides because they're bad," and starting on, boy wakes up in room and has to put hand in box. One is focused on character, one is focused on grand scale and doesn't do a good job of focusing on grand scale. That's a bad comparison.
Yeah, I was gonna say I do not see how that
I'm in
relates
Dune
to...
mode right now because I'm fucking working on a Dune video. You need to humor me.
I mean, I am, like, I'm with you, but, like, I don't think that's even remotely the same as starting
No, no, they're not the same at all. Edit this part out.
like, that's...
Cut this part out.
No.
This is especially the case for World War II. If you were to question if it was a war worth fighting, or even suggesting that the reason it happened isn't in line with the mainstream narrative, you'd be hounded out of the mainstream circles and called a Nazi. This is the case.
I'd like to point out that this guy's channel name is the Zoomer Historian.
I hate that channel name.
So, okay. Should we run that back again just to make sure we're not misconstruing what he said?
Let's run it back. Let's run it back like 19 seconds.
Okay.
Whenever a nation goes to war, you need to justify it to your people from beginning to end, and also afterwards. Otherwise, it would appear your countrymen died for no...
Oh, okay. I need to apologize. I didn't hear the first part of that sentence initially when he said, whenever a nation goes to war, you need to justify to your citizens. I thought he was talking to us, the viewer,
Oh.
about...
Okay, see, that's why I was, like, a little bit confused by what you were saying, but was, like, kind of on the same page, kind of not. So...
Never mind. I take that back. That's not a bad... Yeah, that's a fine way to open. Never mind. I'm sorry, Zoomer guy. You did okay there.
Okay. And then he says...
no reason. This is especially the case for World War II. If you were to question if it was a war worth fighting, or even suggesting that the reason it happened isn't in line with the mainstream narrative, you'd be hounded out of the mainstream circles and called a Nazi.
Okay. Okay. Do we give the post hoc answer or the in the moment answer that they had at the time?
Go ahead.
Okay, so the post hoc answer is the Nazis were killing millions of Jews and oppressing people, and it's a good thing that they were defeated. The answer that the British and French had at the time was, hey, this guy is expanding his powers, and then the moment someone said no, they started a war. We need to stop this guy because he probably won't stop with just Poland. Because he started with just Germany, and then he moved on to Austria, Czechoslovakia, and then Poland said no and he invaded them. We gotta stand up for ourselves in case he turns his guns on us. And then World War II started.
Yep.
Like, I'm sorry, that's a very legitimate reason. It might not be the best reason, but that's a very fucking legitimate reason. Someone's acting a bully, time to put him in his place. Since when is beating up bullies a bad thing?
Well, I would say it depends greatly on the severity of the beating in correlation to the severity of the bullying.
Well, sure.
Because, like, you can, like, a guy can knock a sandwich out of your hand. That doesn't mean you fucking castrate him right there in the street and make him choke on it.
That would be fucking dope, though. Am I wrong? But no, like, in this context, it's a man invading countries and then throwing bombs at them when they say no. It's like, I'm sorry? You should probably be stopped.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, if someone starts throwing bombs at me, I'm gonna have three questions, three thought processes, you may say. First thought process is going to be, that man is throwing bombs at me. The second one is, am I Jewish? The third one is...
You fucking summoned a demon and it crawled out of me when you said that. What the fuck? Your third thought?
My third thought would then be, if Jewish, no, if not Jewish, I should probably stop him from doing that. If Jewish, He's got a point.
I think you would naturally try and defend yourself. The issue is,
I would naturally try and defend myself, but I wouldn't be mad if I lost.
well, the issue is it's Poland.
Yeah, there's Poland. Okay. Am I Polish?
In this context, yeah.
Dig your fucking heels in. All right, the Poles deserved better. Okay, fucking.
Yeah, no, seriously, like severely underrepresented in the grand scale of history outside of World War II.
Yeah,
Like even
outside of
in World War II,
yeah,
really.
Dude, they were super cool. They make some of the best swords too.
Yeah, they've got.
They're great.
Yeah, they got really interesting fashion trends.
even during World War II, though, like there were some secret ops that were happening.
Oh yeah,
over
no,
there.
and a bunch of Poles did manage to escape, and they ended up signing on with the French and English as like almost like a mercenary band.
Let's not forget also about that outpost that held off against the initial invasion for what was it, like 5 days?
Yeah,
There's a Sabaton song about it.
yeah, something fucking crazy. Yeah, no, the Poles are fucking awesome. And then
Yeah.
even as their capital city was burning to the ground, Hitler, he fucking killed himself and his whole family. The Poles were like, okay, so our country has burned to the ground, but our fighting spirit is not gone. Keep going. You know, it's like, I'm sorry, one of these is clearly bigger dick energy than the other. You know? The Poles are fucking awesome, dude. Mad respect. So, how often do you think we're gonna defend the Poles in this video?
I'm gonna defend the Poles till the day I fucking die. Never mind this stupid video.
Fair enough. Speaking of the stupid video.
This is the case across the board from Washington to Moscow. In these two nations, you could argue they came out better off after the war, and most would buy that the sacrifice, especially in America's case, was worth it. But neither Russia nor the US.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit post hoc, but yeah.
We kind of beat evil. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yeah, it is very rare that you could say that about any conflict in human history. Like, most often, it's either two bad guys killing each other, or it's two groups of normal people turning into monsters because of the events of the war. Like, that is what usually happens in war. This was the very, very rare case where there was actually a pretty definitive bad guy.
Yes. I mean, just look at his
USA.
fucking hair.
I'm
I'm talking about Mussolini, of course.
I was just about to ask, are we talking Hirohito, Hitler, or Mussolini? I'm more upset about what's going on beneath Mussolini's nose. How fucking like he looks like a melted version of one of those fucking like what are they called, the Easter Island heads? He looks like one of those melted like a candle. He looks like a blobfish. He looks like a human blobfish.
Yes.
How the fuck did that man gain power? There's actually a really interesting history, but I don't think we can get into that on this episode. Something to do with like giving the workers rights and rising up and turning a socialist revolution into a hyper-militaristic one. It's really neat. It's really interesting stuff. I wonder if that was the inspiration for things like Dune.
Perhaps it could have mildly. I mean, Dune's primary inspiration was Seven Pillars of Wisdom. So
Yeah, and
the story of T.E. Lawrence.
yeah, probably also a bit more Hitler than Mussolini in terms of like influences. Although I don't think that was one of his primary influences.
Would buy that the sacrifice, especially in America's case, was worth it. But neither Russia nor the USA began the war. Great Britain did. When they inserted themselves into the
Begun the war. I'm sorry, who fired first?
Oh, I know.
Was it A, Britain, B, Sweden, C, Mexico, D, the Soviet Union, E, Germany, Or F, none of the above?
Well, technically speaking, it was none of the above.
Okay, how technical are we getting?
We're getting technical to the point where it was the Serbians who fired first.
Well, I was about to ask, are we getting technical
World
to the
War
point?
One never ended.
Yeah, that's
all right.
that is true. There was just a really long ceasefire, and alliances shifted wildly.
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
That is technically true. To think, two of the worst events in human history started because of some fucking Looney Tunes shenanigans. I'm not kidding. You know what's crazy? After the initial attempt on Franz's life failed, and so then the driver was like, "Oh shit, I know a shortcut. Let's go through here." And that shortcut just happened to go past a sandwich place that the guy who, tried to assassinate Franz Ferdinand went to, lick his wounds and be like, "Fuck, I lost." And then this guy at the sandwich shop sees Ferdinand taking a shortcut, and he fucking shoots him. That man was destined to die. God said, "Fuck you specifically. I'm killing millions today." That is fucked. Oh man, history's fun.
History is fun.
Yeah, so who fired first again, buddy?
Germany fired
But
first.
neither Russia nor the USA began the war. Great Britain did. When they inserted themselves into the German-Polish Danzig negotiations,
They were murdering people. I'm okay.
What do you mean inserted? I mean, yes, technically, but I'm sorry. The political violence must stop. Fucking Chad, yes.
Yeah.
war that broke out would now no longer be a contained conflict, it would be a world war. In the UK, we're taught that this was the good war. We had no choice but to involve ourselves. Some of the most famous historians even claim that we destroyed ourselves to stop the evil empires of Germany and Japan, and that this was a good thing. In rare cases, it's even claimed that we had to fight to stop the Holocaust, which holds
Sorry, I'll continue.
no basis in fact. At the end of the day,
Okay, so that Holocaust one is fair. That hadn't started yet, and even after it had started, the U.S. had no idea to the scale as to what was going on. Nobody knew except for maybe the SS. In terms of just the sheer scale. So yeah, that one's fair, but come on, man.
Yeah.
I'm
1 second. I gotta let my dog back in because he's barking.
Yeah. I'll fill in the time with history lessons.
destroyed ourselves to stop the evil empires of Germany and Japan, and that
Which is 1,000,000% what the United States did. You're fucking welcome, by the way, rest of the world. Britain certainly held out a lot longer than the United States because they had significantly less resources, and they held off. They staved off the German advance over Great Britain, and they were while conducting guerrilla raids in Greece and in Norway, or maybe it was Finland. I think it was actually Finland. No, Norway. It was Norway. I'm stupid. I don't know geography. And then they were even holding off some invasions in Japan. Japan was winning.
I had to let my, ironically enough, German Shepherd back into the house.
Yeah, just to fill the time, I was giving a history lesson on how, Britain and the United States were kind of the heroes of World War II.
Yes?
Everyone remembers America.
Is there some debate about that?
Yes, actually. Because obviously the
Forget
Nazis
the
think
French.
that... Obviously the Nazis... Well, no. I was just filling the time. But, the Nazis think that the wrong side won. So do the Japanese hyper nationalists, but they're a minority party now. Like nobody cares
Well,
about
of
that
course
shit
the
anymore.
villains are gonna think that the wrong side
Well,
won.
yeah, but also the Soviets think that the U.S. and Britain didn't do enough because, or not the Soviets, communists, because of how many people died in the Soviet Union. But it's like, yeah, okay, that's what happens when
Look,
a
just
genocide
because you were
happens in your
bagging
country.
people up and throwing them into fire doesn't mean that we didn't do enough.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, motherfucker, like, look at the logistics, first of all. Yes, like, there is no denying the sacrifices that the Soviets laid out. Like, that shit is harrowing. Like, 1 million dead in a single field, like, that's unfathomable. But on the other hand, the United States and Britain won multiple wars. There was the war in North Africa, the war in North Europe, which admittedly failed, the war in West Europe, which we won, the war in the Pacific, which we won. And Britain managed to stave off the Nazi offense while conducting raids in like Norway and Greece while fighting off the Japanese. Like, I'm sorry, that's impressive. And then the United States stepped in with their massive dicks and won the wars in North Africa and West Europe and the Pacific. Like, the Pacific was almost single-handedly won by the United States. Because Japan was fucking steamrolling everyone else. Like, holy shit, big dick United States. Also, you gotta ask, where did all the communist money come from, guys? There was a deal between the Soviets and the United States. The United States was funding a big portion of the Soviet war machine.
Yes.
Yeah. But even if we don't, even if we reject that part of history, like there's still the insane amount that the United States did, and Britain holding out for as long as they did against such overwhelming odds. Like, holy shit, you guys are actually the heroes. Like, unironically. And like I said earlier, it is rare where you could find a war where that could ever actually be said in more context than just you served your country. Like, these guys actually arguably saved the world. and credit to the Soviets. They helped save the world too. And then threatened to destroy it, but that's that wasn't exactly a one-sided issue on their part.
This was, in rare cases, it's even claimed that we had to fight to stop the Holocaust, which holds no basis in fact. At the end of the day, this is all cope. The Second World War cost Great Britain everything it had. We didn't do this as some courageous act to save the world. We did it because we were led by headless chickens, panicking their way through diplomacy, like Chamberlain, and warmongers who just wanted to get headlong into a fight, no matter the cost, like Churchill.
It,
Okay, I need to run that back a little bit.
Courageous act to save the world. We did it because we were led by headless chickens, panicking their way through diplomacy, like Chamberlain, and warmongers who just wanted to get headlong into a fight, no matter the cost, like Churchill. When you are going to send your nation to war...
Yes, because a coward who is panicking will charge into war. Yes. Like Churchill. Yes.
Well,
Churchill,
hold on.
Coward.
You could easily make an argument that Britain was acting like a chicken with its head cut off with its indecisiveness in the lead up to World War II, but during World War II they were incredibly decisive. Because the people with the actual balls and strategy and brains, like, actually stepped up? Like, how is that... If anything, the chicken with its head cut off analogy should be used for Britain before World War II, because they thought, oh, appeasement will work. And then they were constantly fighting against the Germans, politically, and then just letting them have everything they wanted when the argument was done. So it's like, I'm sorry, is that not the chicken with its head cut off right there? Because you have this conviction, but you're not doing anything with it. And then war broke out, and all of a sudden, like, Britain had Giga Chad energy. Like, and Churchill. I don't know that warmonger is a good word to describe him. He, I don't know that he was necessarily adverse to war. I don't know enough about the guy. I know that he served in World War One, but I also know that because of his failures with the Gallipoli campaign, he was removed from his office. I think he stepped down. Yeah, he was demoted in the army, and then he stepped down from his position in Parliament. I think that's what happened. I could be mistaken. And if that is what happened, then he owned up to his mistakes. That's not something a chicken with its head cut off really does. Now, if he was forced to step down, then that's a whole other question. But I'm not sure that makes him a warmonger. And being prepared to fight a country that is, like, very aggressively expanding and threatening other countries, like, I'm sorry, that's normal. You should always be prepared to fight a bully. Like, or are you going to say that the way we're preparing to deal with China is the United States being warmongering, even though China's the one making all the blatant fucking threats? Anything to add?
No, that was pretty good, coverage.
Yeah. Like, I mean, there is room for him to be correct here. I just don't think he is.
And risk the lives of your armed forces, and especially your citizens, you need to consider the risks. Much like a gambler or a trader in the stock market, you need to assess the fact that before you dive headlong into what you're planning on doing, there are risks.
Well, yeah, the risk of any war that you fight is that you will be destroyed. Like, that's why war happens. It's because more often than not, or at least in the modern world, the reason war happens is because there is some level of existential dread happening. Like, our country could be damaged beyond repair, or might not even exist in some cases. Or our ethnic group, or our religion, or whatever else. Like, that's overwhelmingly why war happens, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of wars do happen over really petty reasons. Like the bucket war.
I love the bucket war.
Yeah, or like Rome just being expansionist, but to be fair, on the one side, Rome was just being expansionist, but on the other side, those people were defending their homes.
Mm-hmm.
So the people that fought back, yeah, they were fighting an existential war. So yeah, like, yeah, well, war sucks, but it's actually very easy to justify when you get down to it. Ugh.
Are those risks worth it? What do you have to gain? Before we dive in, I'd just like to mention that
They had to gain autonomy and not being threatened by the Nazis. Sounds like a deal to me.
I've put my just become pretty active down below. I've created a Patreon and put that in the description if that's of interest to you. Anything helps.
Why would I pay for a bad history lesson on YouTube? I could go to college for that. Although, actually, with college, I'll be learning about things that you'll just simply never hear about. Whether I'm getting a good lesson or not doesn't matter.
Yes.
I'm dominating this conversation. Add something.
In the 1940s, there was what was his name? Lowry Allen Turney fought on the side of the Nazis against the communists because several years prior he had fought against the communists in his home country, and then after World War II he joined the American military to fight against the communists again.
Hey, I remember hearing about that guy. That's based.
Yes.
Giga based.
Yeah, massively based.
Gigaced.
You gase.
Gigaced.
Terrible. It's a terrible thing to say.
Yeah. I should be put in a camp for that one.
That's the worst I've ever heard.
And it will help me work towards being able to make more and better quality videos. And eventually, I'd like to focus purely on making these videos as opposed to my other jobs. But
Okay.
No, keep your day job.
Yeah, keep your day job. Also, you could just have better quality videos by doing some mental exercises. Think about that one.
Think about it. Consider it deeply.
Think about it. Run from it. Sooner or later, it all comes the same.
I
Common
thought
sense.
the hammock was the cat. And for a second I was like, man, that dude is stretching that pussy. Like, holy shit.
for now, let me afford the books required to make this kind of content and get the 2 or 3 videos a week I currently do out for you on time. Even the $2 tier on Patreon helps. This question was not the thought process in Parliament in 1939 when we threw ourselves into war. There was nothing to gain. Eastern Europe was not our sphere of influence.
Oh, so maybe it wasn't actually about material goods. Maybe it was about a moral mission then.
Ooh.
Wow.
Say it ain't so.
Yeah, and maybe, hey, sometimes maybe moral missions actually come from material goods, such as, I want to have control over my country in 100 years.
Nah.
Or even our business to be poking our nose in. A not insignificant amount of people in England even thought Hitler's goals in Poland were just. Danzig was a...
There's a lot of communists. There's a lot of communists that think China's in the right here in the United States. That doesn't fucking mean anything.
Yeah. Like, when it comes to the morality of the military, like, movement, you can't look at, like, the greater opinion.
Yeah.
You really just have to ask one question. Are people dying?
Are they dying needlessly, more importantly?
Sure, we'll say that.
Because, like, a pedophile can die and I won't shed a fucking tear. But if, like, 50, like,
I would say
die,
that I would say that it was implicit in the way that I asked the
Sure,
question.
sure.
Are people dying? Not soldiers. Like, soldiers are people. But, like...
I was gonna say, soldiers aren't people. Well, if you give it 50 years,
Soldiers
they
are
might not
people.
be.
Soldiers are people. Who gives a shit? The Nazis. But but like, are civilians, are innocent people dying? Yes. Then it's bad.
Yeah. That's a pretty fucking simple question if you ask me.
I feel like you learn this really early on in your life.
Like, the only thing that we can try and throw a monkey wrench into that line of logic and say, well, but the guys that we like and support often end up killing civilians, and we defend it as accidental or usually accidental, and yes, but we're not defending those people dying. In fact, we're admonishing the fact that it happened more often than not. We're just saying that it's usually accidental, and if it's not, then those people that, threw the drone at 11 children should probably be killed. Like, maybe that's just me.
No, I'm tracking.
I gotta bring it back because I feel like there's more to tackle there.
Or even our business to be poking our nose in. A not insignificant amount of people in England even thought Hitler's goals in Poland were just.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of examples in history where that happened. Like, there was the guy that betrayed the Spartans to the Persians at Thermopylae. There were plenty of examples.
Did you say Thermopylae?
Thermopylae.
There you go.
I'm pretty sure I said Thermopylae. I might have said Thermopylae.
It's not. I heard Thermopylae, but you might.
Well,
we'll
see what the recording says.
I suppose we will.
Yeah, I'll make fun of you if I said Thermopylae the whole time. Haha, fuck you.
Yeah,
You're stupid.
I mean, you always make fun of me. It's weird. I don't know why I'm still your friend. I get mistreated.
It's because you like the abuse.
Yeah, Daddy.
Anyway, and during the Civil War, there were plenty of racists in the North that thought, no, no, the Confederacy has a point. Like, that's why people voted for secession. And there were plenty of people in the South that, joined up with the Union because they thought that secession was the wrong answer. Like,
Yes.
turns out war isn't two monoliths going up against each other for material gain, although that often does happen. Turns out war is fought by thousands of individuals who have their own complex thoughts and feelings. Huh, funny that.
Hmm.
Weird. It's almost like people are confusing little critters. It's almost like there are people involved.
Almost. But not quite.
Because they're
Not
Nazis?
not every war has people involved. Especially World War II. No, because they're Jews. Fuck off.
It was a joke after all, but through a mixture of lack of critical thinking, falling for false alarms and panic, we threw ourselves in. Worst of all, we knew we could do nothing if it came to war. Poland was an entire
What false alarms?
Germany invading another country because they said, no, we're not giving you a city.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a false
alarm.
alarm. I don't think that's a false alarm. I think that's a pretty big red flag. Like, that's a bigger red flag than the fucking Nazi one. Like,
Yeah.
entire continent away, and no men, no bullets, or even advisors were.
oh, it's so far away. It's so far away. Why
It's
are we
so
getting
far
involved?
away, you guys. Why are we getting involved? Well, so there was this thing. You may not have heard of it. That was invented in the 1910s, but it became popular in the 20s, and pretty much commonly used in the 30s, and was explicitly important to mankind in the 40s. It was called radio.
I thought you were going to say the airplane, but that works too.
No, radio. Radio connected everybody, whether you were 10 feet or 10 miles. Someone was right next to you. That connected the entire world to each other. And then we also had airplanes. And then we also had global trade. And then we also, we had global trade first. But
Well, yeah, but thanks to things like trains, airplanes, and things like that, global trade like expanded and accelerated.
and planet Earth became kind of culturally symbiotic, you might say,
Yeah.
as a result. What happens way the fuck over there has an impact, a ripple effect, you might say, on what happens way the fuck over here.
Well, and hell, there's even like an example that I can point to immediately. The Mongol Empire. I will always point to that as an example of just because it's far away doesn't mean that it doesn't affect you.
Exactly.
Because the thing
Yes.
is, the Mongol Empire started in Mongolia and it ended in fucking Russia. It ended in the Levant almost. But the only reason it didn't expand further was because it was far too expansive. They were fighting too many enemies at the same time. They had a lot of bad luck expanding in those areas, and their empire was simply collapsing because Genghis Khan didn't name a singular heir. And so it just divided, the empire divided itself and like ate itself alive basically. But like here's the thing. The Mongols expanding led to the siege of Constantinople, which led to the spread of bubonic plague, which led to people asking questions, which brought about the Renaissance. The sciences there would bring about the ways of thinking of the Enlightenment, and the very fundamental ways of thinking of the Enlightenment would go on to be the founding principles of the United States. You like having rights? Thank Genghis Khan. I'm not even fucking kidding.
No, I think that meant every day. What are you talking about?
Like, Like, holy fucking shit, just because it happened a long time ago or in some faraway country doesn't mean that it's not going to affect you. And here's the thing, that's Mongolia to the United States, man. That's Mongolia in, like, the 1300s to the United States today. Like, what do you think Germany in the 40s expanding violently is going to do to Britain in the 40s? They're a boat trip away from each other. I think Britain's response was proportional. Especially since they didn't even bomb...
least fair.
Yeah, they didn't even bomb Germany at first. They thought World War I was going to happen again, so they started setting up defenses in France. They didn't even make any preemptive strikes that I'm aware of.
Well, luckily World War I didn't happen again. But World War II happened.
I think that might be worse.
Oh, yeah, you're right. We shouldn't have gotten involved.
Sent to Poland would given Poland free rein to provoke a conflict by not negotiating with Germany, yet we could...
Oh, wow! Fuck off!
That, Huh. Yeah. Huh. Uh-huh.
Buddy, maybe the reason you get called a Nazi is because you're using actual Nazi rhetoric. Not because you're saying something that's vaguely racist or you're a little bit mean on the internet. No, you are actually making the same fucking arguments that the Nazis did! And still do!
Uh-huh.
Buddy! If you don't know what self-awareness is, buy yourself a mirror. I'm gonna bring that back. I don't believe I just heard that.
And even thought Hitler's goals in Poland were just. Danzig was a German city, after all. But through a mixture of lack of critical thinking, falling for false alarms and panic, we threw ourselves in. Worst of all, we knew we could do nothing if it came to war. Poland was an entire continent away, and no men, no bullets, or even advisors were sent to Poland. We'd given Poland free rein to provoke a conflict by not negotiating with Germany, yet we could do nothing to help. There was nothing to gain from such a move. We had put the nail in the coffin of Polish-German negotiations as the Poles knew we would back them up. What were the war goals? Destroy Germany? Anyone who thought for more than a second knew this would be either near impossible, or if it were to succeed, would cost many more lives in the First World War if outside help didn't come to France or Britain's aid.
Okay, maybe they weren't looking to destroy Germany, but prevent it from expanding further. Because, you know, the whole impetus for this was Germany invading a country because another country said, no, this city is mine.
No. That couldn't be it.
You sounded like an airplane.
It's definitely... Yes, because in World War... But because by the 1940s, we had airplanes. I'm an airplane. I was there. I know.
Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine.
Oh my god. Look at that fucking garbage. Look, you see where Leningrad is?
Oh, he is a Nazi! Look! Greater Germany! It's greater than all of them!
Okay, so... You know how, like, the communists will defend the Winter War, or the Russian side of the Winter War, by saying, oh, Stalin needed, you know, some of that land from Finland to be able to defend Leningrad from a German invasion. Where the fuck is Leningrad?
As a matter of fact, where is it? Yes, where is it?
It's right up there. Right
oh,
next
it's
to
right
Finland.
up there?
Right next to Finland.
Oh.
Look at it!
Yeah, right next to Finland.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, the
there
Germans
is.
are definitely coming through there. They're not...
Oh yeah, they're absolutely coming through there. Yeah, that's where Germany. That's how Germany gets into Russia, is through Finland.
Jesus, yeah. just looking at a fucking map.
They just send boats right up past Sweden because it's safe, and then they make port in Finland, get themselves some sultry wenches for the night, and then they're all good to go to invade Leningrad.
Yeah, fucking God, communists and Nazis, the two of the most retarded groups on the fucking planet.
You know, if I were Hitler, I feel like that was a really stupid idea on Hitler's part. If I were him, I would have taken control of Warsaw.
Oh, you mean that thing that he actually did, and then
tried to invade from there?
You mean that thing that he actually did, and it almost worked? Wow.
Yeah,
And then the thing is, like, if they were moving troops all the way here instead of just having them garrisoned at the border, isn't that significantly more suspicious than just having troops garrisoned at the border? And the thing is, all of that to defend from a country that they were allies with at the time. Fuck off. I know that's a tangent, but still, it's so goddamn blatant. So we can thank the Zoomer historian for debunking a retarded communist argument on accident. Now watch as he makes some retarded Nazi arguments.
The greatest state, and neither was her empire. Wars are expensive, and we'd bankrupted ourselves many times before going into ventures like these, but this was to be the great.
I'm sorry, was that the French?
I don't think so.
It looked like the French.
I'm gonna... Oh.
What have you done? That looks like the French.
Well, no, the guys in red are the English.
No, but the guys in blue.
That might be the artillery colors for the English at the time. I don't know. Oh, but then there's the cuirassier there.
Yeah.
I think he's talking about the Napoleonic Wars just in general.
These seem to be, yeah.
But it's like,
Anyway.
okay, here's the thing. Would you rather be bankrupted because you won a war against an enemy that, is expanding violently? Like, say, Napoleon or Hitler. Or would you rather be violently expanded on?
I would rather be, I would rather violently expand in someone.
That's a different cum podcast.
Oh, sorry. I forgot.
Ourselves many times before going into ventures like these, but this was to be the greatest of them all. Hitler had explicitly stated that there was
Did they know that it was going to be the greatest war ever fought at the time?
I don't know.
I don't think they did. I
I
knew
don't
it was
think
going to
anybody.
be. I think they knew it was going to be a big one, but I don't.
I mean,
think...
I know Hitler definitely didn't think he was being sneaky. like people were gonna notice and take issue, and that's why he had, the army that he had.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody knew it was gonna be the global catastrophe that it was.
Yeah, I think people thought it was just going to be World War I all over again.
In fact, it was not.
Yeah, it was way worse.
Yes.
In fact,
the
it was
best prequel to the Korean War.
Yeah, in fact, it was about 4 times worse.
Just about, yeah.
nothing in the West that interested him. He'd written off the losses in the Great War to Belgium, Denmark, France, and Italy. He was only ever interested in regaining the German majority areas in Eastern Europe under foreign rulership, which he did. All that was left.
Oh, he was only interested in getting back what they lost in World War One, guys. What's in the oven? Never mind that.
Are we gonna talk about how he conquered these countries and turned them into part of his empire, including conscription?
Yeah.
Are we gonna talk about that or
but
no?
They already had. But no, Germany already had those though.
Because they were majority German?
Yeah. No. See, Romania used to belong to Germany before World War One, so he just wanted to get it back. Also, Germany looks like a one-horned dragon breathing fire that is fucking... Czechoslovakia.
No, look, it was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire.
No, what are you talking about? It was Germany's.
But it's like, no, hold on. But one of the main fucking reasons that the Austro-Hungarian Empire collapsed was because of all the ethnic tensions that, that was one of the reasons the Austro-Hungary fought World War One the way they did. It was to try and unite all the different ethnic groups.
Yes, but actually, no. It was Germany's. That's what this guy thinks.
I don't like throwing around the word Nazi, but is this guy, actually a fucking Nazi?
Is he? Are you a Germany sympathizer, sir? Do you know what? Yeah, I don't know.
I hate throwing around that word because I get called that for saying criminals should be punished.
I get called that for saying I hate the Jews.
Jesus Christ. I don't know, man.
Why did we draw the line there? Why not focus on what we...
Why do we draw the line at him invading other people's countries so that he could reunite the German people? Well, what about the ethnic Germans that were more than happy to be Polish?
Is he just pro-imperialist? Like, maybe not exactly a Nazi, but just pro-imperialism? Like, expansionist imperialism?
Well, here's the thing. You could be pro-imperialism and still hate the fucking Nazis.
Yes, I'm aware of that, but like, what if he just gets a big fucking stiffy over expansionism?
I wonder what
Oh.
I wonder what his opinion on land back, giving land back to the natives is. I wonder what his opinion. I wonder
It's bad. You shouldn't do it. But, like, actually, though. But
I really do wonder, and yeah, there was another example I had, but I'm not too sure about it.
you're not too keen on that one.
No, mainly because I forgot what it was.
We should give Zululand back.
Well, I mean, with the way things are going, they're taking it back. Kill double.
Yeah, but like through crime, not through.
Wait, are you suggesting it should be through crime, or are you saying that it is through crime and not through diplomacy?
I'm suggesting that it is through crime.
Oh, okay. Because I'm not suggesting it, I'm outright saying it.
I think there should be a coup. The
Where?
Zulus should have Zululand back.
which he did. All that was left was Danzig. Why did we draw the line there? Why not focus on what you can control, not what you can't? We could have drawn a line.
Well, that's when we noticed it.
Well, see, okay, the reason we drew the line there was because I don't... Britain didn't think that they were going to stop there. Because from the British perspective, even if they were wrong, let's look at things from the British perspective. They saw all of these countries, many of whom did not even have German majority ethnicities. There were countries that were just consumed because they had a noticeable German population. And then it's like, oh, one city from Poland? And then, do you realize what the next argument after that would be? Hitler would be like, hey, can we have that city? I mean, you already gave us Danzig, so why can't we have that city?
Basically, it's why you don't give the Loch Ness Monster Tree Fitty or else he'll keep coming back.
No, it was a succubus.
No, it was the Loch Ness Monster.
The South Park bit was...
The South Park...
Succubus.
No, that's the episode with the succubus, but the bit is the story of the Loch Ness Monster.
Oh. Are you sure it wasn't a giant crab?
I am fucking certain.
Hmm. I haven't seen that episode in
This
forever.
Girl
so.
Scout was 50 stories tall, and from the crustacean from the Paleolithic era, and he calls it the Loch Ness Monster.
Oh. So it was a crab. It's just...
Yes, but it's the Loch Ness Monster.
Okay, I forgot about that part.
And I noticed that this Girl Scout was 50 stories tall and a crustacean from the Paleolithic era.
West of Germany and said don't touch this or else it's war, and Hitler would never have crossed it. That much is indisputable. Hitler wanted an alliance with Britain, not war.
Then why was he so fucking ready for war?
I don't think that's what he wanted at all. You guy. I don't think that shit.
Why was he so goddamn ready for war? Because, like, motherfucker, he saw a weakness in the French line that the French didn't even see, man.
What if it, okay,
He
so
was
here's
that
the thing.
ready.
All that aside, though, I want to know: is he gonna deny the Holocaust?
He fucking better not. I don't think he will. I don't think he's that dumb.
You know what? As of here, I will readily believe that he denies the Holocaust in this video.
We'll find out. We've
Or
got...
if not denies it, somehow finds a way to underhandedly justify it
Or downplay it or something.
or downplay it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We got 7 minutes.
If Mein Kampf is to be believed, which most happily do, despite Hitler's
Mein Kampf is to be believed. It is in fact a real book.
Isn't it just as much a manifesto as it is a fucking
Pretty much.
autobiography? I haven't read it yet,
yeah.
but like,
Oh, it's good. You should read it.
is it going to be headache-inducing like the Communist Manifesto?
Not quite as much, but
Oh, so yes,
yeah.
just not as bad. Dude, I couldn't even finish that fucking book. It's so bad.
or else it's war, and Hitler would never have crossed it. That much is indisputable. Hitler wanted an alliance with Britain.
It's completely indisputable that Hitler never would have crossed that border. All the other ones, yes, but it's indisputable that he was going to stop.
Well, wait, hold on. If it's that disputable, then why was he so ready to invade Poland if he knew if the Poles and arguably him knew that Britain would back them up? And if he was so
No, it's
ready,
indisputable.
if he didn't want war, then why didn't he just like move his troops to the country to defend the one side and then just like start peace talks and be like, "Hey guys, I just wanted to reunite the German people. Maybe I overstepped my boundaries. Sure, fair enough. But you guys are not my issue right now." Like, why not just do that and do good faith acts if he wanted peace with Britain? Why did he jump straight into war?
You know, because
Like, wouldn't it be...
peace was never an option.
Yeah, exactly, because wouldn't it be so goddamn easy to be like, oh, to do your propaganda to the people and be like, oh, look, see those countries over there? We could destroy them, but through our Aryan grace, we've decided not to, because it's not worth it yet. There can be peace. We can have celebrations. I am bringing our troops home so that they can make more Aryan babies. Wouldn't that be so fucking easy to do and sell that to your people?
It would.
You start war when
Yes.
it's necessary, and you end it when it's necessary. That would be so fucking easy to sell. But Hitler was either so fucking military-minded and out of his fucking gourd on drugs and retardation that he thought, yeah, I could take the entirety of Europe. Or, which to be fair is part of fascist belief, or he actually wanted to conquer all of Europe. And these ideas are not mutually exclusive.
Yep. Yep. I'm in that camp. I'm firmly in agreement that like it was his goal from the beginning to just conquer all of it.
Just because he said it wasn't doesn't mean that it isn't.
Yeah. You really want to you believe the words of a madman?
You believe the words of a politician?
You believe? Yeah. He is a politician first, madman second. Okay?
Exactly. It's like
These ideas are not mutually exclusive. However, correlation does not always equal causality.
Hi, Fetty.
Hold on,
What?
did I just interrupt a Berserk reference?
No.
I
No.
heard Zality,
Causation
I was
and
like-
causality are not the same thing.
I heard Zality.
Well, that's
No.
probably because you're a little bit
Fucking
obsessed
nerd.
because you've been reading Berserk, which is natural.
Fucking nerd.
Right. But you know, it was from East, and I know how much he loves it. Like
I like
second
it
to
Berserk.
True.
I'm probably third or fourth to true, but I like it.
Yeah, I'm probably second or third, if I'm being honest. Maybe fourth now that you're here. Although I wouldn't drop myself that low. Not yet, at least. So,
Oh, I need to finish it first before I can rank myself. So
okay, that is fair. That is fair. That is fair.
That is fair.
Uh,
I hear that the bit towards the end is really good.
So
like
yeah,
it is currently.
Fetty, what you've missed is this guy saying that Britain shouldn't have joined World War II because there was no material gain for it, and because Hitler had already united all the German people.
but that's not. But wasn't he just like still expanding?
Well, yeah, that's
Appeasement was not working.
yeah, exactly, because the argument that we're currently on is, oh, why are we drawing the line at Danzig? We drew the line at Danzig because Poland said no, and Germany's response was violence.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, everyone else had appeased Hitler.
Yeah, if anything, they should have drawn the line way sooner.
Yeah,
Like three
exactly.
countries back.
Yeah, so this guy is actually straight up making like pro-Nazi arguments, but he criticized the idea of criticizing these ideas as like not having critical thinking or being uneducated, listening to the mainstream, and then he said like, and if you don't do that, then you get called a Nazi and exiled from like mainstream circles, and it's like, okay, but buddy, you're making actual Nazi arguments. Like you're
I mean,
not
look at his.
you're not making offensive
He's
memes.
a,
You are making actual fucking Nazi arguments. It makes me wonder, man.
he's just a fucking wereaboo. Hitler. Hitler could have won World War II if he did this.
Nah, not really. He needed the oil. That's why he invaded Russia. And let's
Well, really,
let's be real.
it's
There are
even still like he ideologically just hated communists. So like,
which
you
is
kind of just have
weird.
to assume that Hitler isn't Hitler. In which case, Hitler could have won the war if he just didn't invade Poland.
Yeah, exactly.
He
The
would've-
best way for him to have his 1,000-year empire was to just not start World War II. Easy.
Yeah.
Well, it's politics. It's not easy, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, he had swallowed up like 4 countries by then. He didn't need Poland. But of course, it's Hitler. It's Hitler. If you say that Hitler could have been fine and dandy if he did this, that means that you're saying that Hitler would have been fine and dandy if he wasn't Hitler.
That's a pretty good point, actually. All this because he was not good enough for art, apparently. Even though I've seen his paintings, they're pretty detailed. They're quite
Okay.
nice.
They're not terrible.
Yeah, they've got some issues here and there, but overall
I
they're
mean,
pretty good.
I can see why he got rejected, but they're not horrible.
Well, but the thing is, it's like, isn't the whole point of art school to be able to like help you hone your abilities?
That's true.
So it's
No,
like, why?
we only train masters here. Therefore, be a master.
That's so
I
fucking
don't know what
dumb.
school he tried to get into in either. Like, and really, only one?
Maybe it was the only one he could afford or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
Probably. I mean, he was.
I mean,
dirt
he
poor
seems
afterwards.
good enough to get into a low income school.
I don't know. Maybe it had something to do with the fact that his dad fucking hated the idea of him being an artist. So once that happened, he might have just. I feel so weird, like adding character to Hitler. But
Wait, East. Hold on, East. Did you just call Hitler ghetto?
Yes.
That
As
is
a matter of
that
fact,
is
I did.
that is so fucked yet disturbingly accurate. Oh my god. That is.
Hans, get this ratchet out! Get this ratchet asshole out of here!
Fuzzy's good, my nigga.
What is this bitch ass nigga doing in Zigga's house? Apple? This Stutzstaffel does not tolerate
Wait.
dumbass niggas.
Wait. Fetty's the one who said it, so it's okay. And he said it with the soft A, so it's okay. But
said
he was
it-
doing a German accent, so is it not okay? Like, do I have to
I don't
censor
know.
that?
I don't know. What? Why don't we consult Das Nigras that run YouTube and ask them what they think?
Man, get your Jehovah looking ass out of
You know what's funny? You know what's
Yeah,
funny?
man.
Nobody's gonna watch this fucking podcast, but the people, like, if any like leftist watches this, they're gonna be so fucking confused because we're like out here debunking Nazi arguments and then just like saying the N word.
Hey, look,
Fucking
I'm an
deal with it,
American.
Yuden.
I'm an American, okay? We fought against the Nazis.
Yeah,
Just like we fight against the Negroes every day.
and ourselves and each other.
Fetty, that's
And-
you.
Yeah, Fetty, what are you talking about?
Oh wait,
Well,
no,
I'm
he's
pure
half.
white
No,
man.
he's not a Negro. He's a knee.
Oh right, he's only a nig.
Jesus
What it do, my nig?
Christ. I hope these walls are thick enough.
Now.
Not war. If
I
an
live
alliance with
alone.
Britain. Not war. If Mein Kampf is to be believed, which most happily do, despite Hitler stating later that if he'd known he would become Chancellor, he never would have written the book, then the future you are looking at is Germany expanding into Eastern Europe and throwing themselves into an inevitable war with the Soviet Union. Why would we involve ourselves in such a crusade? Initially, Hitler had attempted to
To
negotiate
maybe,
an alliance
To save lives.
yeah, like
Yeah,
in an
they're kind
ironic
of
way.
sort of
Sometimes
trying to take over trying to take over the biggest country on Earth.
yeah,
A
like
continent?
could you imagine, like, Hitler almost won against the Soviets while his attention was divided. Could you imagine what would have happened if it wasn't? Britain saved the
What?
fucking world. Holy shit.
No, guys, it was the Soviet Union that did everything.
We already debunked that. We already
They
debunked
definitely,
that.
I know,
We're
I'm
not
yes,
going
they
over it
definitely
again.
weren't losing, and yeah.
I just wanted to meme a little, that's all.
It's fine. It's
I'm
fine.
aware just because you lose 20 million people doesn't mean that you are any good at fighting.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's like
If anything, it's demonstrably the opposite.
Yeah.
you're bad at fighting. You
Yes.
just had the resources to keep
Dumbass.
losing.
Dumbass fucking Slavs.
Oh Jesus! Too
Say
much
what you
vodka.
want about the white man. At
Too
least they
much
could keep the
vodka in
blacks in
system.
hostage.
I have to throw millions of people to die in one field.
And this is fucking Balkan shit. Like, you guys are just like black people with a new coat of paint. You should not be accepted.
the black people of white people. Jesus Christ.
I love hating on Slavs.
I mean, who doesn't?
Oh, I mean
That's
that's
true.
to be fair, root word of slave and all that. The Romans knew what was up.
Hell yeah, they did.
Those dumbasses. Speaking of which, serfs. Those dumbasses enslaved themselves.
400 years? That shit sounds like a choice.
I was just about to say so did the Dahomey. Look how that ended up.
This dude has a video on how Roosevelt is a warmonger. Damn. How the USA provoked Germany.
Theodore or Franklin Delano?
Franklin.
Okay.
Theodore did not fucking
Frank,
command
wait,
his warmongers.
wait.
Like-
How the fuck is Franklin Roosevelt a warmonger? Theo, sure.
Okay,
I
yeah,
can see that.
Teddy was totally a warmonger. I hope we can all agree on that. But
Yeah,
Against the Buffalo.
and the Cubans,
and the Panamanians,
Fuck them.
and the Filipinos.
They're not even a real
just
country.
all the Spanish colonies in general.
That's true.
The dude was just like, I'm gonna be using this analogy a lot, or this fucking idiom a lot, but he was like George W. Bush with an old coat of paint. And also
Old
cool.
coat.
Well, yeah, 'cause
that's
he's
not
older, like,
inaccurate. George.
That's such a weird.
Well, no, it's true though, because Bush had to fucking whitewash what he was doing. You know, he had to disguise it up
You have
as
to
like
save Iraq.
yeah, he had
Right.
to paint it up as like counterterrorism, even though what he was doing, he invaded two countries that one was housing the people that did it and was willing to help us. The other had nothing to do with 9/11.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Saddam was kind of an L, but at the same time, he did just help contribute to
listen.
the destabilization of
Yeah,
the Middle
we
East.
showed up, killed 1 million Iraqis, and then we left, and the emo killings happened. Buddy, would you kill a bad guy and worse people take over? Why has that been the United States foreign policy for the last 50 years?
Hey, bro, as long as they're in support of us, it don't fucking matter.
I think it does,
by the
because...
way-
No, I'm not actually kidding. Because us meddling in foreign politics is actually what started the Vietnam War. Like, that's what
Right.
started the revolution in Vietnam, because we installed a Catholic in Vietnam, and he started persecuting all the locals who were Buddhist. That's why that guy set himself on fire, and that was free ammunition for the communists in the north to start a revolution. Like, we poured gasoline on that fire. We're the reason the French had to retreat from Vietnam, and then subsequently ourselves.
Almost
We
like
fucked ourselves there. Like, that was just objectively the wrong choice.
No, yeah, America's asshole is like twice the size of normal because it fucks itself so much.
We got a big dick, but we only use it on ourselves. We
Well,
use it on
sometimes,
other people
the
so
dick
hard
isn't
that
enough.
they end up our asshole.
Sometimes we just use 2 fingers and stretch it. We're
Speak
just so
soft.
used to it. We need to divvy it up, but still do the same thing.
Give it a little rub
I
throughout the
like
middle.
I like that good old famous Teddy Roosevelt clip. Fucking
That famous Teddy Roosevelt clip.
that famous Teddy Roosevelt quote: "Speak softly and carry a big dick." Where were we? Oh, right, Nazis.
Where were we? Ah, yes.
We
Nazis.
thwarted by involving ourselves. But if we had not, and negotiations broke down, you're looking at the destruction of the Polish
Oh,
state,
yeah.
which is hardly new in history. But we were in no position to stop that if it is what Hitler wished to do. Then would be the Soviet War, which would see the two, as most people at the time would say, and still do now, evil nations in Europe going at it with each other, inevitably weakening each other, and costing them millions upon millions of dead.
Yes, but Germany would have won that war,
Oh, yeah.
which would have given them the oil necessary to conquer Britain and France. And North
There's a-
Africa. And once
There's a
Britain and
clip
France are
somewhere
done
in
away
here.
with, once Britain and France are done away with, that gives them free reign to take over Africa.
Okay, so you're gonna pronounce France as France, but you're gonna say Iraq. You're gonna say Iraq instead of Iraq.
Listen, I don't know how it's pronounced.
Okay, well, obviously it's not. You'd have to do like an accent and everything, but the closest way to do it in English, I'd say, is Iraq.
Hold on, let me. What language is primarily spoken in Iraq?
Arabic.
Arabic. Okay, because I
Yeah.
know Farsi is in Iran.
Yeah, they're Persian.
Okay, let's look it up.
Every Arabic country, every country that's majority Arab, they all speak Arabic.
Okay, let's see. Let's see
Except-
what Google Translate says.
العراق.
Iraq. Iraq.
I believe Wait, let me see. Yeah, usually it's like pronounced like Al Iraq.
Yeah, Al Iraq.
I'll say this: I usually don't hear the I pronounced, but maybe it's just.
Well, I'm just going off of what the lady the I'm just going off what the Arabic lady just told me in Google Translate. So maybe it's wrong. I don't know. They don't have Farsi in Google Translate. That's strange. Do they have
They don't?
Pashto?
Pretty sure they do. No way to know. There's no way they don't have Farsi.
They hold on. They have Pashto, but they don't have fucking Farsi. That's racist.
Um, Holy shit, they don't.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, they got Persian at least.
What?
Wait,
But
hold
not
on.
the primary language of Iran. Okay. Okay. Sure. Thanks, Google.
It. I don't know. I mean, Farsi and Persian might be interchangeable. Actually, I haven't
No,
really
they're
looked
not.
into it, but I'm really.
No, they're not. From what I'm told, they're different
I'm
languages.
I'm googling it right now. I'm just looking.
Well, sure, but like Irani is the umbrella term for all the ethnic groups in the region, and Persian is one of them. Like how German is
Oh.
the umbrella term for all of the ethnic groups in like Germany.
Right, got it. I don't really get much information about Iran outside of my nationalist friend. He's half Iraqi, but he acts like he's full Irani. It's very weird. This dude, like,
What do we call
it's
people like
insane.
that? Do we call them do we call them like Al Qaeda boos, Muslim boos?
I call them insecure.
Hey, Ro, we're fighting Nazis.
Indeed.
Rogar? No. Well, the Nazis killed the black man as he showed up.
Oh no! No! Just like in
That's
history.
very strange, as, we weren't put in the camps, but the Jews were.
It's very
Well,
strange
to be fair, Fetty, your ancestors saluted Hitler when they showed up.
I mean, like,
No, that's actually not a joke. When
I know it's not a joke. The African campaign with Germany was dependent, or at least somewhat dependent, on the African militias that wanted get the freedom from the fucking colonizers.
yeah, which
Of
is
course, Germany probably wasn't gonna treat him any better, but
yeah, it's just I fucking love
they
how
either didn't.
I love the hilarious image of like all those like brown and black people saluting Hitler because they're just happy that the British are gone.
Yeah. Hey, bro, more
And all I
arms
could
for us.
all I could think of is that fucking meme, that Megamind meme. I wouldn't say you're free, more like under new management, you know?
Look, man, if I live in the Congo or something, and this dude frees me, I don't care how many fucking Jews he's killed. I get to keep both my limbs. I get to keep both my arms.
You know, that might be a good point. Anyway, speaking of good points, let's get back to the man that has none.
The time would say, and still do now, evil nations in Europe going at it with each other, inevitably weakening each other, and costing them millions upon millions of dead. The world over, the Soviet Union was detested. Why involve ourselves? Let them destroy each other, if that's what they wish to do. By involving...
That would not have happened.
Wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Germany would have won. Like, that's just the reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, granted, there's a chance that the Soviets would have been more prepared. Well, yeah, because there is a chance that the Soviets would have been more prepared. It's a slim chance, but still a chance. Because one of the reasons Stalin was taken so by surprise was specifically because he thought Hitler was still occupied with Britain.
True, but then in that case, do we really want to give up France?
What do you mean?
We really, because Germany was occupied with France as well.
Oh, yeah, with
So
the
do we really
resistance.
wanna-
That's true. That's true. Yeah, that is true.
And of course, the blitz of Blitzkrieg of, I forget the blitz is for London too, of France, that would have gone by much quicker than it already was.
Yeah, exactly.
So then that would have been up and settled, and Britain wouldn't be helping them out. So sure, I guess the Soviets would be a little more prepared, but Germany would probably be stronger.
Yeah, because they would actually then have the oil to fuel their machines long enough to actually deal with Britain.
Yeah.
Because, like, the reality is, you cannot win on the defensive side of a war of attrition. You can't.
Yeah.
Especially when your enemies have the entirety of Europe as a resource pool to draw from. Like, that's just not fair.
Yeah.
Hey guys, why did
What's
the
up?
Mexican throw his wife off a bridge?
Why?
Tequila,
What?
tequila,
Is that it?
Oh,
Is it just tequila?
tequila.
Is there any meaning
To
behind
kill
it?
Tequila.
her. Oh my god.
tequila.
Oh, tequila.
Oh. Rogar, slap this man's nuts.
No.
Fine, fuck you.
Yeah, Rogar's my. He's got my back.
This right here is Rogar. He's got my back.
Cut all you in half with one dick
Just like
stroke.
mowing the lawn.
Just like stealing a car.
he'll,
I'd advise
he'll,
not
steal,
getting
he'll,
pressed by
steal
him.
he'll steal your soul with one hard R. I suggest staying on his
Oh
good
my
side.
God.
I'd advise not getting pressed by him. Because God carries the souls of his enemies. I mean, his ops.
Involving ourselves, we brought
Oh my
about worse
god.
horrors than we sought to stop. In millions upon millions of dead, the world over, the Soviet Union was detested. Why involve ourselves? Let them destroy each other, if that's what they wish to do. By involving ourselves, we had brought about worse horrors than we sought to stop. In war, everything is escalated.
No.
We weren't
Even
stopping what my
well,
man did to the Hebrews.
Damn.
well, yeah, and to be fair, man, Jesus Christ. No, well, by we he means Britain, but
Hmm.
even if World War II did somehow end up worse than this theoretical scenario, they did not know that they did not know that would be the case. You can never know what's going to happen in the future. You may have an idea, based on like predictive qualities of like past patterns, but you never know. Like nobody knew the nukes were going to fucking happen. Nobody knew the jet engine was going to show up in this war. You know? Nobody knew that the United
Yeah.
States was going to get involved. Nobody knew that Nanking was going to happen. Like, you simply don't know the future until it happens.
Yeah.
That's
I
just
mean, I guess the latter two you can make fair assumptions for, but the others, no one really expected them outside of the Soviets.
well, the problem was the Soviets weren't expecting it at all.
Well, I mean, they did have spies in the Manhattan Project, so that's what I meant.
Well, kind of. It was more a Soviet sympathizer that leaked information, not really a Soviet spy. But I guess through technicality, yeah.
Beyond its normal limit. The further a war progresses and the more total it becomes, the more civilization breaks down. The more you push your enemy into desperation, the more drastic actions he will take to save himself. A German-Polish war would have been a quick affair, if it even came to war. Instead, we
Which it did.
Wait, no,
It
you
it
Yeah.
said no
explicitly
more.
did, dude. Poland said
Yeah.
no, we're not giving you Danzig, and then Germany was like, yes, you are. Like that's why the war started. The war
Yeah.
started and then the following day Britain and France declared war. How the fuck do you
Hmm.
not know that? That's basic history. Why are you calling yourself historian?
To be fair, he's a Zoomer historian, so like.
Fuck off. That's not a good enough excuse. Sorry, I'm actually mad right now.
Understandable.
You feeling okay, Ro?
No, no, not really. My dad kind of has gone through a hard shit again.
Ah, that
Oh,
sucks to hear, man.
Yeah. Um, how y'all doing?
Tired, but overall pretty good. Moved, like finished moving recently, so that's why the acoustics sound different.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah, I am too. It's a nice place. We've talked to some people, got some programs set up for soap delivery and getting the pipes cleaned. So we're gonna have really fucking clean water.
Right.
By the way, if you ever wondered why there's little like frozen ice bits or like little white bits in your ice, take a couple ice cubes and put them in a pan and let them melt, not boil, melt, and
Mm-hmm.
and you'll see like little floaty bits. That's because there are chemicals and metals that are coming off in your pipes. Especially if you live in California,
Nasty.
because very recently they transitioned to a toilet to tap system. So the water
Well,
that's
that's
in the sewage system is going to be, cleaned and recycled and run through your tap.
That's
well, that's
oh, so
um.
California's Fremen now.
No, 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 they're not. They're fucking Harkonnens because of all the chemicals they have to put in to clean it.
Filthy water.
that's a good point.
Yeah. Like I literally joked with the guy when he was like pointing out all the chemicals and he like did the tests. Like my water is actually like kind of lethal in the long term if I don't get it cleaned. And I joked with him, "Huh, I always wanted to be a Harkonnen." Because like that shit looked like after all the system had like cleared and like separated the water the from like the actual chemicals through the solution.
Mm-hmm.
That shit looked like someone dropped bread in there and just left it overnight. It was fucking disgusting. And the shit was like so thick that I could see it in my ice after melting it in a pot. Like it was very blatantly filthy.
We've had this water for
Wow.
billions upon billions of years just to ruin it down.
Yeah. Welcome to
Yeah.
humanity.
Yeah. Good lord. But it's atrocious.
Yeah.
Apologies if I sound muffled. My mic is going through some shit.
No, that's okay. So yeah, the good news is, in a few days, my water is actually going to be among the cleanest water in the state. And they even threw in a complimentary gift card as thanks for working with them, and soap membership. So I'm going to be getting free soap for a while, and then I'll be getting soap on the regular. So yeah.
It'll be
Nice.
clean.
Yes,
So
yeah,
that's
I'm gonna be
fantastic.
clean and good smelling.
Meanwhile, I'm having to deal with a Nazi sympathizer that is embarrassing me.
Okay, we all are.
I mean, he's given the rest of us a bad name.
Well, then let's see if he can bring it back. We're at the halfway point.
We're at the halfway point.
Don't worry,
tighter,
we'll
tighter
let you
clutch
speak your
with
piece.
victories have been pulled. You know, like Britain in World War II.
Escalated and brought new players into it. We dragged Norway into the war by violating their neutrality, sending their country into turmoil. Then when things went
I'm sorry, what?
Did they?
Wait, violated whose neutrality?
Norway's. Hold on, I'm
Norway.
looking this up.
Yeah.
That sounds like bullshit.
While he's looking that up,
Norway
Allow
was
me-
essential for transporting Swedish iron to Germany, and control over Norway meant control over the North Sea, or the Norwegian Sea, Greenland Sea, and parts of the Barents Sea. Germany invaded Norway, but had to fight both Norwegian, British, and French forces before it had control. So it sounds like Germany invaded the other country, and the British used their commandos to stall, which was a very normal tactic. They did it in Greece. They did it in Norway. They did it in North Africa.
That's a lot of neutrally violated countries, I'm just saying.
Yeah, you want to know why Germany violated the neutrality of places like Denmark, Sweden, and Norway, but not Switzerland? It's because of the fucking mountains that Switzerland is surrounded by.
Also, they're extremely militaristic.
Oh, yeah, no, like the Swiss army, despite having no experience, is fucking insanely well trained. Like, it is absurd.
Yep, conscription is required for all citizens.
Oh, yeah, then that's. And people say militarism is bad, but then it gives us awesome chocolate. What gives?
Okay, well, imperialist militarism is bad.
Awesome chocolate.
Yeah, yeah, Switzerland
Basically,
has
if
some
you
of the best
mix
chocolate in the
militarism
world.
Yeah, basically, if you mix militarism with anything else, it just becomes bad.
Hmm.
You
That's
mix
dope.
it with national pride, you get Israel.
If you mix it with imperialism, you get Germany. I
Yeah.
won't specify because it happened multiple
Hell,
times.
hell, even America. Well, crap, that makes it sound like America's like Naziist, but you get the idea. Honestly, Germany, I know this has been said a lot, but Germany could really fall under the same category as Israel with their nationalism and ethnic pride.
Yeah, I mean they don't have that anymore because the last time they did it, there was a bit of trouble, and so now
No, yeah, I'm just
they've kind
talking
of
about the
overcorrected.
yeah. I'm just talking about the Nazis.
Nazis,
Nazis?
the Nazis. That sounds like a fucking like a weird like band, like a combination between a band name and a racial slur.
Nazi.
Yeah, the
You're
Nazis.
fucking right. You're fucking right.
Shut up, you fucking Nazi. It sounds like a slur
We
for
are
Jewish people with particularly large noses.
that.
Am I wrong?
You, my friend, are cooking.
No, I'm
You need
not.
to make
I'm
that a
saying
slur ASAP.
Maisie.
Nazi? Imagine calling someone a Jewish person that and them just looking confused.
A Jewess. Oh, we gotta get back to this.
Yeah,
Badly
Jewish,
pronounced
like Judas. They
Yep.
killed Christ.
Yep.
as a result of the
Killed
Norway
our
escalation,
Lord.
Winston Churchill, the so-called greatest Briton of all time, went on a grovelling campaign at the feet of Roosevelt and Stalin, inevitably escalating the war. He sent letter after letter to Stalin.
But fucking Hitler's the one that attacked.
Okay, so let's say hypothetically, your country is in dire danger, along with the rest of Europe. Do you A, call on your allies, or B, just fight those motherfuckers like a real man, or C, just do nothing.
It's like, okay, firstly, why is he blaming fucking Churchill for, Roosevelt joining the war? We gave them aid because they're our cultural and economic allies. And then we joined the war because of Japan. And Stalin joined the war because Hitler invaded Russia!
Yeah.
It wasn't Winston Churchill's fault! And why are
This
you...
guy,
Oh my god. Oh.
this guy seems incredibly disingenuous.
I think he's just
Yeah.
stupid.
He's
That
a
too.
fucking weirdo, I told you.
He's a
Stalin, begging
fucking
him to join the war,
liberal.
sending him warnings that one day Hitler would attack him. Roosevelt was more than happy to rob
Yeah, and Stalin didn't believe him, and look at what happened. Operation Barbarossa was almost a smash success.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say a smash success, but you know, Germany wasn't exactly unscathed, even if they took over Russia.
No, I said almost, because, like, in those first weeks, Germany had
Well,
little
I mean,
to no
like-
resistance. Like, generals were killing themselves over how effective Germany was in the opening weeks.
Right, but then like once they get to the end, it would not have been called a smash success even if they succeeded. That's my
Well,
I mean.
in
what
their
I mean.
propaganda, it would have been called that, but you know what I mean. Like, I think we can agree
yeah.
that, like, had Hitler just, firstly, prepared for a proper winter, and second, continued the siege on Moscow, rather than diverting all those troops to Stalingrad, there's actually a damn good chance that he would have won there. And now, imagine that he was able to do that without also fighting Britain and French resistance. That he just focused all of his forces. Like,
Yeah,
that's what
better
this
yet,
guy's
just
advocating
don't-
for. Like, I'm sorry, no. Britain did the right thing. They stepped in.
They did.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you could criticize Churchill for. This is not one of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You could criticize him for his racism, for his, war, like his affinity for war. You know, you could
Indian
criticize him
people
for a
breed
lot.
like rabbits.
Like what?
Like rabbits.
Oh, you were quoting.
Yeah.
Britain supplies we needed to fight such a war. Hitler gave us the option. We would lose nothing. Hitler had no interest in war with us. Instead, we chose escalation. Millions upon millions more would die.
I'm sorry, who's the motherfucker invading other countries?
Exactly.
Like, Britain
It-
tried
it's always
appeasement and it
gotta be
didn't
here.
work. And then someone said no. And I know we're reiterating points, but I don't care. He's reiterating points, so fuck him. Like, someone said no, and then they started invading places, and it's like, oh. That's not cool. And that's why
Listen,
the
I'm
war
Arab.
started. Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, like I'm Arab. I like the West here the least, but why does it always have to be the West's fault? We can't do shit without being criticized.
No, we can't.
Die as a result. If we admitted our fault and cut our losses there and then, France would have been restored to its full independence, millions would not die in the Allies' bombing campaigns to come, thousands of Brits would not perish in the Blitz, millions of Americans would not be sent abroad into dire conditions to fight a foreign war. Most important to ourselves, the British Empire would not have collapsed, and the
Alright, wait.
Most important of all, the British Empire would not have collapsed.
We should not have sent our soldiers abroad to die in a foreign war. You cannot equate this to Iraq or Vietnam, man. I'm sorry.
You really can't.
Okay, I can't believe everyone else is just skipping over how he said the most important part was the fall of the British Empire being a consequence of World War II. And how that's the worst part about all this happening.
What?
This guy
that
is
was
just
the
an
best part.
imperialist.
That was probably the best part.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of the way they went about dissolving it, by cutting up countries in horrible ways.
Well, in fairness, Britain at least, I don't want to defend the British Empire, but, compare them to everyone else, they were kind of the least bad people to be ruled by.
True, the French still try to exert their influence over their colonies to this day, so...
Mm-hmm. The debt with Haiti, that was only paid off, in, the 80s?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's fucking... And then the Spanish, they just never maintained their colonies. They just kept them.
Oh, yeah.
And then
They're
the
just
revolutions
weak as
happened, and
hell.
it's like, wait, shit, where's the money?
Right. They probably would have been, they were almost as bad as everyone else. They probably could have been even worse if they were just competent. It didn't lay claim to shit that just wasn't theirs. Like, they were spread way too thin across North America, and eventually they just got really, really weak and just way too weak to hold on to even their shit overseas.
Well,
Like the
to be
Philippines.
fair, a big portion of why the Spanish Empire fell was the American Revolution, of all things. Because the American Revolution happening and succeeding was the impetus for a lot of the places that were ruled by Spain to be like, oh, well, if they could do it, we can do it too.
Hmm.
That's
To be
why.
fair, though, a lot of things were able to be held on to by other countries. Like, even though France lost Haiti, they didn't die out. Then again, they did have the whole Napoleon thing going on at that point, but they still ended up taking shit in Africa. Same for Britain, and even other places in the world, like Indochina.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't think that the Enlightenment ideals that started getting circulated from America helped Spain any, but part of it was just them being weak. Another part of it was just them being kind of incompetent and over biting off more than they could chew from the start.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Britain took over so many Spanish colonies during the during the Golden Age of piracy.
The Americans inherited most of it. Millions would die as a result of the civil wars and chaos that ensued in our rushed departure from our overseas holdings after the war.
Stop saying our. I know who you really root for.
Yeah.
That's not untrue, but I don't think that you can blame rushed departure on joining World War II. I think that's just general mismanagement.
I'm convinced this dude believes in no more brother wars. Like the idea that, that we never should have fought each other during World War II because we're all white brethren.
I don't know.
White brethren should never fight each other.
I don't know that he thinks that, but it wouldn't shock me.
For the white people.
I always found that so funny because it's just like a self-admittance from white supremacists that they'll have their own white-on-white crime. Which is 10 times as destructive as blacks.
Fuck, that's a really funny way of
Right.
putting it, but it's
Like, you'd be
true.
better off just ignoring it. The second you point it out, even if you want to, like, try to make it stop, it just... You dug your own... Congratulations, you played yourself.
Anyway, the victor's spoils.
There was never anything to gain by throwing ourselves in, yet we did. The war fundamentally changed.
Stop
It was
fucking saying that, man!
There was everything to lose.
Yeah,
Everything.
exactly. Firstly, that's the most important part. Second, you've already fucking said that with nothing to back it up.
Come on, bro.
Like,
You could have made one about World War One.
Sorry, you go first.
Could have made one about World War One, Vietnam, maybe even the fucking Gulf War. But you had to make it about World War Two.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, buddy, why is it that your evidence for having nothing to gain is looking at the consequences of what happened and then comparing that to the best case scenario of not getting involved as opposed to the likely or worst case scenarios? Like, when you play with the hypotheticals of history, like major historical events like this, you need to play with all of the factors. Like, I'm sorry, that's just true. And then when you do that, you need to, like...
wearaboos.
Yeah, and then when you
It's
do
not
that,
how
you
it
need to
works
look
for-
at what happened and look at what is most consistent to find out what would most likely happen. And what would most likely happen is, if Britain didn't get involved, Hitler would just gain more and more territory. Sure, World War II wouldn't have happened, but Hitler was an expansionist. He proved this with how eager he was to fight France instead of just being like, hey, I don't want war with you guys, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or even just going to war with Poland in the fucking first place. Like... God, what a stupid fucking argument. I'm still mad about that. Oh,
Why
he
does
had
every
already
fucking
annexed all those
historian-
other countries, so why did we draw the line at Danzig? It's like, well, because Poland said no.
Why the fuck does every single historian have to have an agenda nowadays? I mean, I know it's always kind of existed, but damn.
Metatron. If you want a historian without an agenda, watch Metatron. Most of his videos are pretty unbiased. I say most because there's a couple that are like, okay, buddy, I can
Yeah,
I can
I
see
mean,
what you're
there
doing.
are definitely plenty out there that aren't biased. I think in oversimplified, it's a great job of being unbiased.
Yeah. History buffs, a little bit like surface level, but pretty unbiased overall.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really summarize stuff. Not the way that you typically think, because he covers movies.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He's more talking about how much respect movies show
Yeah, I mean,
history.
he'll give like a general synopsis, but
Yeah.
usually he just dives into like certain details.
Yeah, which you still learn a lot through that, but it's not it's not like an Atun Shea video or a Shadiversity video or a Metatron video where you're actually like
Yeah.
learning history, even if it's not like the best place to learn history. Those are still
Yeah.
good
Mhm.
resources for learning.
Fucking oversimplified taught me shit that East is still telling me about, like the Napoleonic War stuff. Like sometimes he'll try telling me a fun fact, and I'll be thinking in my mind, "Oh, oversimplified already taught me that."
Fuck you.
Hey,
Way.
it's
The Americans became the
oversimplified
world's
that took
predominant beforehand.
all of the satisfaction from you. Say fuck that nigga.
I did say fuck that, but fuck you,
You
Nick.
said fuck me.
Yeah,
fuck you
fuck
said
you.
fuck
You're
me
the
for?
one. You're the one in fuck you distance.
You're also black.
Oh,
That's
Like,
not
you
in
could
fuck
just,
you
like-
distance.
you could shimmy your way over to that nigga, and then
Hold on.
fuck him from the
Where is he?
appropriate
What's his app?
Put oversimplified, bro. He has like 10 million subs.
Okay, I'll walk up to a man with 10 million subs and say fuck you.
That's a
I ain't
lot of
scared.
sandwiches.
It's a lot of sandwiches. I want that many sandwiches.
I wonder how many feet that is.
Moving on.
Somebody please isolate that.
Moving on.
Fundamentally changed the world in every conceivable way. The Americans became the world's predominant superpower, yet they were in deep isolation beforehand. The Soviet Union gained control of all of Eastern Europe, and the Brits.
That's not Britain's fault. That's Japan's fault. How do you not know that?
He doesn't know anything.
True.
Does he realize that the reason that Britain and France and all the other European powers were so weak after the war, which caused the whole dichotomy, was because fucking Hitler waged a war on them?
Yeah. Like,
This is probably the best outcome. It was either that or just getting conquered.
yeah, like, granted, as awful as the Cold War was, you know, like, it was kind of the best case scenario out of World War II, if we're being honest. Well, the real best case scenario is World War II never happens. But I'm sorry, the reality is with the way the chips fell after World War I, it was inevitable.
Yeah. When you bully a country like that, all of a sudden, Mustache Man seems like a hero.
You know, yeah. I wouldn't quite put it that way. I would say, well, when you have it their perspective and realize, hey, I've got a job now, then it's like, well, suddenly this guy doesn't sound so bad. Especially since the Holocaust hadn't happened
he
yet.
seems like a hero. I never said he was a hero.
That's true, that's true.
Remember, these people were fucking starving. The inflation was hog wild.
Yeah, that is true.
I'm 100% sure that if I was put in that situation, I'd act the exact same way.
Oh, yeah, 1,000,000%. I would have joined the fucking SS if I was young enough.
Yeah.
Well, I would hope that I have like the courage and the principle to be like, no, war is bad. This sucks. This is awful, and be one of the people that leaves for the United States or Britain or whatever. But I can't say with certainty that I would. Like statistically, and knowing my passions, there's a good chance that I also would have done the opposite and joined the SS. Because look, my family has a job now. The glory of my homeland has been restored. We're no longer living in shame. Like.
Right.
It sucks, but that's reality. Like, say what you
Just
want.
in general, you have food on the
say
table.
what you want about Peterson today, but back when he was like, you know, not insane, he was absolutely fucking right. You need to look at history through the lens of the bad guys. You need to assume that you would have been the bad guys and try and rationalize that. And that's how you understand why the bad guys were the bad guys. You know?
Yeah, Bill Burr put it best. Actually, maybe not best, but if you were around during slavery, you would not have been part of the Underground Railroad. If you had the chance, you'd be fucking running a plantation, same as everyone else.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because it was a symbol of power. That's why black people did it too. Because it was a symbol of power, status, authority, wealth.
It made you money.
Exactly.
More slaves means more production, means more moolah.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think sweatshops are still a thing? Despite being illegal in the United States, everyone goes, "Oh, well then we're just going to go overseas." It's specifically because of that. The exact same goddamn logic as to why black people owned slaves in antebellum South. That was a tangent. Let's go back to this.
Beforehand, the Soviet Union gained control of all of Eastern Europe, and the Brits, for their trouble, were left totally bankrupt and their place in the world destroyed forever. It's been a terminal decline ever since. The empire wasn't in a good state after the mess that was the First World War. It barely survived. World War II would be the death blow. In 1942, Winston Churchill stated, "I have not become the King's first minister in order to preside over the liquidation of the British Empire." Yet to gain American support starting the year before, Winston Churchill sold off the British foreign investments and assets for pennies on the dollar. Roosevelt couldn't believe his luck. He hated the British Empire and everything it stood for. He spoke publicly and privately on this point dozens of times in his career, even joking about how he was sending the empire to its grave while he was ripping off the Brits. "We sold off our empire to a man who hated us, to save it from a man who loved us and never threatened us."
Do these people look that happy? Like the fucking Africans.
Did he just?
That dude looks
oh
like he's
my
trying.
god! said.
look somewhat happy for the camera.
Yeah, that was that might have been a human zoo.
Yeah,
That was a
It
real
looked
thing
an
people
awful
used to
lot
do.
like
that's a
those Brits
bad.
were going, oh, neat, and
Mm-hmm.
Well,
that did not look like um
let's run it back
a
because you said a
nice,
lot of.
well-oiled relationship.
Yeah, let's bring it back because there's a lot of stupid that he just said there.
British foreign investments and assets for pennies on the dollar, Roosevelt couldn't believe his luck. He
Yeah, okay, so he was selling things to the United States. Hey, editing bay Trisket here. That is not what this man said. He said that Roosevelt hated the British Empire. I don't know if that's true, but that is a completely different conversation from the one that we ended up having, so just bear that in mind. Okay, he probably did that so that he could get support from the United States, and also the he's a politician. Of course, he's gonna say one thing and then do the other. I'm not justifying that. I'm not saying that that means that he made the right call. Like, I'm just saying, like, yeah, politicians do that. They all do.
hated the British Empire and everything it stood for. He spoke publicly and privately on this point dozens of times in his career, even joking about how he was sending the empire to its grave while he was ripping off the Brits.
Okay, so the question is, where is your source? Here, I'll even look in the description of his original video.
Whenever a nation
Let's see. World War II is seen as the good war. Just a description of the video, and then Patreon, Telegram, and Instagram. That's it.
So this dude has no source for what he's talking about.
He has no source for Winston Churchill ever saying any of that stuff.
See, this is why you don't talk out the side of your fucking neck. That's why you look stupid.
Like, don't get me wrong. I could believe that this man could have said those things. But the issue with some of them, especially, as previously mentioned, joking about selling out the British Empire, that's called a joke. For a reason.
What the fuck even is a joke anymore, bro?
Well, yeah, exactly. Like I could make a joke about how, black people commit crime, and therefore I can't be friends with them. But that's very evidently not true by this podcast, by who I'm dating, by who I work with and for and enjoy, working with. Like...
Oh man, you're using us as token characters so that you can hide behind us.
This is an opt-in podcast.
No.
I don't know what you're talking about. I just got a check in the mail for $1,000 to be on a 3-viewer podcast.
With
No
what
offense.
money?
A 3-viewer podcast. Yeah, you're
I
right.
get $1 million from this
No
podcast,
offense.
but I only get 100,000. And then Rogar's like, "You guys are getting paid?"
Right.
I pay
What do you mean? He's on
proportional
the
to
payroll
melanin.
too. We need
Wait a minute.
we need the token here.
You
Thing
pay
is,
me
like,
in
I'm
watermelon?
only
No.
You do your
Remember,
job
I'm
well. At
only
the end of the
halfway-
month, there's a chicken bonus.
No,
for you.
I said I pay proportional to melanin, not I pay you in watermelon.
Portion to melanin. So you're gonna give me watermelon?
I remember when I first met you, Trisket, you were like, Rogar's a little too light-skinned. I know you're light-skinned too, but half plus half equals whole, so it'll even out. We'll get a full token.
We all remember the first time we met Trisket, and I don't think it was pleasant for anyone.
Damn, okay. Fuck you. I'm ending
I'm
this
still
podcast.
here.
You're still here. It's crazy.
I'm still. You're wow. Yeah. Isn't it great that I'm? Yeah. Fuck you.
Man who hated us, to save it from a man who loved us and never threatened us. When the war came to an end, we simply could not afford to run.
By the way, just because someone doesn't say, I'm gonna fucking kill you, doesn't mean that they're not threatening you. Maybe constant expansion through all the different countries. You know, maybe that has something to do with it. You know, maybe bombing people who say no has something to do with it. And also, you want to talk about uniting the German people? There's a reason. There is a fucking reason. They're called the Anglo-Saxons because after Rome left England, the German Saxons invaded and established Saxon language, which was a German language, as the root. Where the fuck was the annexation of Britain? Where was that? Where was the annexation of Belgium, which is half German? He hadn't already annexed all the fucking German people. Especially since Romanians aren't even German, you fuck. Fucking hate this guy. Anyone have anything else to say?
No, not on that front.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I guess I just nailed it. Awesome.
Some of these points are starting to feel a little restated.
Well, yeah. You just like
It's
10,
just I don't
it's
feel
10
like
minutes of
commenting
saying
on every.
it's 10 minutes of saying, "Oh, Hitler never threatened us," and he
No,
just
I
wanted,
know.
he just wanted what he
I
wanted.
don't.
Why did we have to get involved and make World War II happen?
I just don't want to have to comment on every time he says something he already said.
What we had, a slow process of decolonization began, and we lost in a few decades what we had spent centuries building, with nothing to show for it. We came up with all kinds of post-war cope about how independence was imminent anyway, and we were preparing these people for nationhood. In India's case, this might have had a bitter truth to it, but in regards to Africa and the rest, we weren't going anywhere anytime soon.
Well,
Is that a bad thing?
maybe he might be right about the post-war cope about we were planning to make these people independent anyway. That could be the case. I'm not in the minds of the politicians at the time because I'm not them. So
I think it was in a very slow process of happening, but something tells me it wouldn't have happened as soon as it did. So.
yeah, if not for World War II. So like if he means to say, oh well, these people were left alone and abandoned, then okay, sure, but whose fault is it that Britain felt it wasn't right that people who say no get shot? It's not Britain's fault for feeling that way. It's Germany's fault for shooting people that say no, I won't give you this city.
Cover the sheer amount of death that resulted from our departure would require a video on each separate state and go outside the bounds of this channel, but the blood was on our hands. The initial reason for fighting the war was
Motherfucker, you're called the Zoomer historian. Your whole bit is history. Why would you call yourself that and be like, oh yeah, that bit about British history, that thing that I'm very clearly well versed in, that goes beyond the scope of my channel. Fuck you! Do your job! If you want to make this your full-time job, then put some fucking effort into it.
Look, bro, don't act like the British Empire encompassed the fucking Milky Way galaxy, bro.
Yeah, it was like 50 no, not even 50 countries. It was like, what, 20?
I mean,
10?
it was big, but did he?
More in like landmass
big,
rather
but-
than the number of countries.
Yeah, I mean, it's you can cover it. Come on, bro. You can at least like give a decent enough summary of it.
Yeah, that's Jesus Christ. I wouldn't have had an issue with what he said if he had just left it at, which requires videos on itself for each individual state, because it's like, okay, that's true, because history's complex, you know, and there'd be no issue other than probably him not being right about it. But and then he said, yeah, this is beyond the scope of the channel, despite what I named the channel and clearly focus on. Fuck off.
and by extension, Poland. At the end of the war, Churchill quite literally handed Poland over to Stalin without a care in the world. Polish government in exile was backstabbed and the nation was handed over to Stalin's communist puppet regime. On top of that, he was given the rest of Eastern Europe. Churchill even signed these away on a document to Stalin directly. Only Greece managed to resist the communist wave sweeping over Eastern Europe, albeit with 150,000 dead for their trouble in a civil war. Britain was...
So, maybe it's because Stalin had already installed all of his troops there, you know? Maybe because he had already laid claim to the land, and Britain no longer had the manpower to be able to fight back. And, should Stalin pull a Hitler and be like, nah. Maybe the issue wasn't Poland changing hands. Maybe the issue was the violence that came with it. Because at this point, Poland had, well, you can't really call it settled. It was only like a year or two into the end of the war. But still, there's a massive difference between conquering an already conquered land and using it as a buffer state to protect yourself from the war that you just won, and shooting people conquering the land because they said, no, we won't give you a city. Don't get me wrong, they're both bad. They're both bad, but one is clearly worse than the other.
Left so bankrupt by the end of the war that in the end, they never recovered. Britain is a shell of its former self today. From the predominant world power at the turn of the century, within a few decades, Britain had become a second-rate power entirely dependent on American aid. Churchill himself, for his trouble, was voted out of...
Hold on. He keeps, saying that Britain, the British Empire, he keeps implying that it's a good thing, but then he says, the way that it was pulled out of these other countries was, quick and terrible. And it's like, okay, I agree with the latter point, but I feel like, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like these two arguments are entirely separate from one another. You can't make both arguments, I think. Maybe you can, but I feel like you need to, really clarify what your stance is on that before you can actually accurately make that claim. That those two arguments go hand in hand. Am I wrong? Is there, a way that can work?
I don't think you'd be wrong on that front.
Because, the way that I would see it is, if I was in the shoes of, no, empire good, then I would think, no, we shouldn't have pulled out of those countries, because look at what happened to those countries when they did pull out. So we shouldn't have done it at all. Because these people simply don't have the resources or the cultural education or the cultural history to be able to understand the gifts that we tried to give them. That's what my argument
I mean, to
would
be fair, whose fault is that? But
well, yes, that's at least partially Britain's fault, which is why I'm not making that argument. I'm just saying, if I was in that camp, that's the argument I would probably make.
no, yeah, it's definitely the lesser of two cancers.
Yeah.
I find it telling that he still hasn't mentioned the Holocaust.
No, he hasn't.
Kind of reminds me of Actually, wait, no, communists. They'll straight up say that they'll straight up say that people deserve to get shot.
Well, if you can convince them that it did happen, which they usually start off denying, then they'll be like, "Yo, it didn't happen, but it's good that it did." It's like, okay.
I've seen some of them lead with just oh, they got rid of all of the counter-revolutionary terrorists that were trying to threaten the communist utopia.
Counter-revolutionary farmers.
Right.
Yeah. That motherfucker that stopped clapping second too early.
Yeah.
Counter-revolutionary filth, suka blood.
You could be pro-revolution and be anti the establishment. That's a thing you can do.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Quote the famous philosopher, Future. Ain't no way. Ain't no fucking way.
Ah, yes. Future. How could I forget?
Yeah, it's not like there's an entire fucking political line of thought dedicated to being pro-revolution and anti-establishment. What's anarchism for 500? Fucking anyway.
Office. In 1956, Britain tried to overthrow the new Egyptian regime to regain their control of the Suez Canal. President Eisenhower threatened to sink the value of the pound if we didn't leave. Like a good puppy, we left. Britain may now realize...
What? That's the first I'm hearing of that.
Like a good puppy, Britain's not there.
That's good.
Oh my god. Uh, do we have time to look any of that up?
Oh
This
no, dude.
this is the first I'm hearing of this event. And given this fellow's track record, I'm sure that there's swaths of context missing.
Yeah. Hey, would you look at that? It's all the missing context. I don't know. I don't know if we have the time to look that up is the thing. Because, like, I want to be fair, but at the same time, like, time and also this guy's track record.
It's not looking good.
Yeah.
At the time, but they had become an American vassal state and have remained one to this day. We do not have control.
That is not fucking true. That is not fucking true. Now, in a lot of ways, Britain has been culturally invaded and possessed by the United States, but that wasn't the case 40 years ago. That was only been the case for the last 20 years because of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and even then, I wouldn't really even say 20 years. I would say, really, since 2012, 2014, when the internet really took off. Because, like, if you watch, like, Doctor Who as an example of, you know, the cultural dissemination, or whatever the word is, I think it's dissemination, but, like, you'll see that it's very, very British up through the early 2000s. Like, those early Doctor Who episodes are very British, and it's not until like 2016 or so that Doctor Who starts to become very like noticeably feminist in a lot of ways. Which, to be fair, the feminist movement has a massive like foothold in Britain. So I'm not saying that America
the
invaded.
two
I'm just
sides
saying
of the
like
political spectrum.
yeah.
Ah, yes. They made
British
fucking...
and feminist. Either a British or you're a feminist.
Well,
That's
you
the
know what I
battleground,
mean,
man.
but like the type of feminism that has been dominating the internet and is primarily American in nature and philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Because like Britain and America are very similar culturally, but like if you actually know anything about the two cultures, you'll notice a remarkable amount of difference.
Right.
And what I mean is that it started catering to an audience that is culturally much more American than British. And hell, even a lot of like protests in Britain right now use American slogans. So, very, very strange. So, that part, like, if he was talking about, like, the last, like, 10 years, sure, I'd believe him. But he said this as a response to World War II. Britain is not a vassal state. By any means.
Oh no. When you lead with the pride flag in a video about why the outcome of World War II was bad, you already know you're gonna hear some crazy shit.
Yeah.
If it weren't for those dirty imperialists back in the day, we would not have the liberal media spreading their disgusting pedophilia across the World Wide Web.
Now, don't get me wrong. I've got some issues with the way Britain is handling gay pride in a way to like seemingly make up for past mistakes to the point where they're putting like the pride flag over the British flag. Like I don't know that nationalist is a good word to describe me, but I have some nationalist beliefs. I believe that the nation state is a good thing. I believe that the military should exist and have the power to exert itself when necessary. And I believe that the flag should be a major of a country representing all of the good and evil that it's done should be a major point of pride and conversation. And to have the gay pride flag be above that flag, you are saying, at least symbolically, that being gay is more important to the nation than being British, even though it is British ideals that allow for being gay to be an option. You know?
No, yeah, it's like having BLM and also pride flags over our embassies. It's like what?
Yeah, because it's like, okay, those
Doesn't
are
make
those are
sense.
cultural markers of the United States, but should we not be flying the United States flags
And
above those
I
flags?
feel it really weird because also those are like domestic sects of the
Well,
U.S. It doesn't
exactly.
represent us as a whole country.
Exactly. So if we're going to represent those, should we also fly the Confederate battle flag, the Ku Klux Klan flag?
Right.
Should we fly each flag of the 50 states? Should we fly the anarchy flag? You know, like because these are all like
No.
very these are all like cultural touchstones of America in many ways.
Right. But at the same time, I could smell bullshit like emanating off of the remainder of the video.
Leftists are going to be so fucking confused if they ever watch this podcast.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
they're
hey,
already probably
leftists
questioning
watching
my
this
race.
podcast, go fuck yourselves.
Just kidding. We love you.
No, we
gave me a
don't.
bl-
We
you
got
gave
we
me
got
a
to keep
black.
the confusion
You
up.
you get
We gotta
you
keep-
gave me a black gay Doctor Who. Fuck.
There's a black guy on this podcast. Why don't you give him a fucking digital blowjob?
They're gonna be confused as fuck as to my race. Rogar at least has like a light country accent, so that might make him sound like black.
Light country
But
accent.
like me,
Yeah,
also, I've
you
said much
sound
worse shit so far.
you sound
Rogar said some crazy shit on this podcast, but not in this episode so far, at least.
you sound East Side Midwestern white. If you know what I mean, like you sound like
how'd
you're
you
from,
know?
Yeah,
you sound like a white guy from the
You're
east
actually
side
like
of
right
the
on
Midwest.
point. That's the crazy part. I live in Michigan.
Well, here's the thing. Depending on how you classify it, Michigan does count as the east side of the Midwest.
That's literally what he just said, you fucking weirdo.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, sorry. I thought he was
He
denying
said
it.
you were on point.
Oh. No,
Which
I
is
didn't
how
hear
the
that
kids
part.
say you're right.
I didn't
That's
hear
how
that part.
everybody says you're right.
And to shake one's booty means to wiggle your butt.
There's a way the kids say that. There's a way the kids say that.
Allow me to demonstrate.
Rizzle that gyat.
There it is. That's how the kids say it.
I'm gonna go
hate
shoot
that.
myself now.
Me too. Well, hey, we got
Alright,
suicide
I'm gonna
right
do
here.
it as well because you rizzled your yacht in front of all of us, and that was disgusting.
You rizzed your last cat, Spider-Man.
Well, hey, East, you don't have to shoot yourself. We have suicide right here. It's called the play button.
Oh,
Called
hooray.
Canada.
Huzzah!
Oh, Canada.
Damn you, Fetty. That's a good one.
For better or for worse, World War II has entirely shaped the state of the world today. It
Yes.
takes major events like that to make such rapid change. Any movement that is nationalistic is immediately labelled as being bad, and just like Hitler, the nations of Europe have lost their identities. Any movement that is too socialist
I mean, a degree of patriotism is always great, but there's a big difference between nationalism and patriotism.
Yeah. And then there's
And
even
globalization.
and then there's even still a difference between nationalism and jingoism, you know?
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah,
what the
say
Nazis
what you
were.
want about sovereignty of everything as it relates to politics, but globalization's always a good thing. Like everyone getting along across the globe is always a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, being interconnected across the world. There's no way to say that that's bad.
Yeah,
So,
outside of authority, globalization is a good thing.
Yeah, so it's next to impossible to achieve that without, getting rid of nationalism. So I find it extremely strange that you're out here trying to defend that of all things. Especially when you say it in relation to multiple countries, because usually if one country has a degree of nationalism, it means they don't think too fondly of the other ones.
Well, I think there's
So
a
I get that
healthy-
if you're on the side of I get that if you're on the side of like one country, but if you're saying multiple countries, that's like saying like I don't know, like actually like just like wanting to incite a race war or something.
No, this might be a bit of a hot take, but I actually think that there is such a thing as a healthy level of nationalism.
I
Like,
mean, what I
believing that the
consider a
nation
healthy
state is
that
a good
level of
thing and having a very strong sense of patriotism for your country and believing that it's superior to many countries, as long as it is, like in the case of like Britain, America, Japan, or hell, even Russia, if we're being honest.
I
Maybe not
just
as
see
much now as it used to be,
patriotism
but
as the
still.
healthy form of nationalism, honestly.
Yeah, like I think there's a healthy level of nationalism. It's just the issue is when you make that not how you feel about your country, of being just and like going from strong patriotism to going into uh,
Better than all y'all.
structural jingoism. That's when it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
Which is what the fascists do because fascism is just a form of jingoism.
Mhm.
Jingo was his name up.
Is viewed as being full-blown communism. So now we live in the most hyper-individualistic culture that's ever existed as a result. It's a scramble to the top for one's own sake. No one cares about the wider society. As a result of anything but the status
That
quo being
wasn't.
viewed as
That's not
extremism.
true. That's not fucking
Oh,
true.
yeah, that wasn't prompted by World War II. That was prompted by the governments being fucking dog shit. The Vietnam War and Iraq just killed every piece of patriotism that we had. So now, of course, people are going to be individualistic because they have no reason to trust the government anymore.
Well, yeah,
Mhm.
but like furthermore, a lot of now, to be fair, if we want to be like tangential about things, like World War II disillusioned a lot of people and led to postmodernism, but that happened because of World War One as well, just to a lesser extent. And postmodernism was very openly critical about a lot of the establishment ideas, including the Enlightenment, which is why we have a lot of the weird shit that we have going on today. But so I think that yeah,
It's
the
just,
World War II did kind of accelerate that, so we can
I don't
reasonably
know.
blame World
I
War
find
II
it
for it.
really hard to say that it would have that World War II is responsible for it. I know, like technically, it did cause it. You could say that it
Yeah,
sped it up.
it accelerated it at least, if not outright spawning it. I don't think it
Mhm.
spawned it, but you know. Um, but the thing is, like, even in this, postmodern society that we live in, and with everything being questioned and everything being shitty and silly, even a lot of the people that are like super self-centered, like the leftists that he's probably indirectly complaining about, they think that they're doing the society the greater good. They think that they're trying to help people in communities. They're just going about it in the wrong way because
Yeah, I
they
mean,
think community is about everyone having equal goods and living in the same area rather than actually like making connections and building up friends and families despite your differences. Like
yeah,
they have a
I mean to
twisted
be
view of
fair,
community because they grew up wrong. If I'm being honest, like they just grew up wrong.
yeah.
And
I mean, he might just be, talking about people who really just in it to live their lives rather than care about, the government or their country. But yeah,
sure,
he's probably talking about leftists. He probably is.
sure, but like honestly, there's nothing even wrong with that necessarily. Like just
No, yeah,
focusing
like
on
like I said, I
yourself.
feel like that's all a product of what's happened in the past 70 years with our country
Yeah,
and how it's tried playing us for fools.
true, true.
I
At
mean,
least in
the
our case
internet definitely
specifically.
hasn't helped either. Like, I think the internet has like basically sped up this process.
Oh, yeah,
But
absolutely. Like, the accelerationists are very rarely using terrorist attacks. They're now using misinformation campaigns on Twitter.
Mhm.
yeah,
Like, there was, what, like, 2, 3 accelerationist campaigns in the last, like, 5, 7 years that were, like, actual acts of terror. Like, the white kids accelerating, like, the BLM protests and turning them into riots.
Yep.
Or which to be fair, many of those times it wasn't even like accelerationists doing that, it was straight up just criminals doing that, taking advantage of a chaotic moment. And other
yeah,
times there was another one that happened not too long ago That was these Boogaloo boys. They shot up a bunch of cops because they thought it would stir up
Oh,
anti-government
did you see
sentiment.
the? Let me guess. You saw the shoe on head video?
Yes. Yeah.
I
about
watched that this morning.
yeah about Wendigoon.
Wendigoon? What?
You never heard of Wendigoon?
No.
Yeah, this guy did a
Damn.
fucking hit piece on Wendigoon, and it was really bad. Like, there was so little research done in there that, like, 2 seconds of research, you already know more about Wendigoon than this guy does after a 3-hour video.
All right.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah. I almost.
Now, what's
No,
this
I'm,
about now what's this about a recent P1 head video?
She made a recent video about the hit piece on Wendigoon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, you should, everyone, you should go watch that video. It's really, really good. Shoe on Head is a pretty good content creator. She's better than
Better
us,
yet,
at least.
check out Wendigoon. Wendigoon's fucking
Oh,
fantastic.
yeah,
You'll find
Wendigoon.
something.
I don't watch his stuff very often, but when I do, I usually enjoy it. It's pretty good.
Believe me, you'll find something on his channel that you like. He covers a wide range of shit.
Yep. Like, demonology, horror movies, yeah.
You know, everything from fiction to history to true crime. He's got it all.
Yeah. And he's also friends with a bunch of really cool and also not so cool people. Like,
Fucking Nazis.
well, no, but like, I don't know who some of the people are that got pointed out, but like I could believe that they're not cool, but I don't know because I
I
don't
know,
know
like,
them. But like people
all
like
the
Donut
Guys,
Donut
we are
Operator-
diverting.
That's true. Yeah, we are diverting. Back to the video
We've
that makes me
been-
want to commit Hitler.
The top for one's own sake. No one cares about the wider society.
Commit
As a result of
Hitler.
anything but the status quo being viewed as extremism on the left or the right, we have sleepwalked into the most deranged state of being that has ever existed. Very few are happy. Hardly anyone disputes that World War II was worth fighting, yet most of the
Did you just say very few
But,
of the soldiers are happy? In the
No,
British
very few of
Empire?
us are happy.
Very few of us are happy.
He
Yes,
said
I.
that we're living in the most deranged state of being.
I don't know about that. Maybe, but I don't think so.
Maybe a little, but that's not related.
Oh,
Yeah, I
wouldn't say
don't.
deranged.
I don't think
but
that's World War II's fault necessarily. I would blame that more on the internet than on
Honestly, I'd say
postmodernism.
war itself
Yes,
is a
but
more
you say,
deranged
oh
state
shit,
of
it was the
being.
radio.
This is like this is like how people try to say that war gives men purpose, therefore it should happen.
Which is weird because he's
Nah,
saying the
that's
exact
correct.
opposite here.
There's like 20 different things you could devote your life to
Yeah.
that are worthwhile. Obviously, there are things that you could devote your life to that are fucking
Yeah.
stupid. Plenty of people do that. But
Like-
you don't have to go send yourself out to get your fucking balls blown off.
I'd rather be in war.
All right, just make sure you sit on your helmet.
I'm sorry. Did you say shit on your helmet?
Sit.
No,
on your
sit.
helmet.
Oh,
Yeah,
Why do you sit on your helmet? So we don't get our balls blown off.
okay.
Like, don't get me wrong. I will actually defend like life in the military and say that there are positive sides to war. I'm not just gonna blindly say war bad, but war is generally bad enough that we should probably avoid doing it at every chance we can.
Yeah,
Like, I've seen enough
usually when
footage.
somebody says that a war is good, it's because it was the end to it was the means to an end.
Yeah, and even
Nobody
then,
ever
I'm not
says
sure
that
I'd go
war
that
was-
far.
Yeah.
You know, war is complex, but I've seen enough footage to pretty definitively say, yeah, that's not worth it.
You want a purpose in life? Just go play a sport or something.
Yeah, like,
Just find
get
a religion.
married.
It's not that hard.
Get married, find a tough job, like fucking lobby in your local
Ah,
town.
yes, get married. That's super easy these days.
Yes,
Well,
this is a
it's
good
hard in
point.
America, but like I can't imagine that it's too hard in like Russia or some shit. You know?
Where they still arrange your
Alright.
marriages.
Where monogamy still exists.
Hey, monogamy exists in my relationship.
You know how many fucking polyamorous people there are in the South?
A lot.
Wait,
And
what?
they're all fucking horribly ugly.
Hmm.
I mean, like, you know, you start thinking a little weirdly. You know, incest gets really boring after a while. So.
Yeah, incest gets boring after a while.
I don't
I
know.
know, and that's what
Sure.
the Southerners do. That's what they're known for.
I don't know. The Targaryens did it for hundreds of years.
Targaryens aren't real.
Fuck you,
After
they
a
are to
while, it's
me.
just like,
Anyway.
These people hate the world
Babe,
we live in
stop
today,
saying
which was
dumbass
caused
things. You're not
by that
Aegon Targaryen.
A great darkness will come from the north.
There you go.
Sorry, let's bring it
same
back a
war.
little.
Perhaps it is time for. Hardly anyone disputes that World War II was worth fighting, yet most of these people hate the world we live in today, which was caused by that same war. Perhaps it is time for a rethink. Those on the left hate the capitalist society we have created. Those on the far right agree with them. Religion has been shelved as it holds the opposite values of those that.
I don't think the far right disagrees with capitalism. I think they disagree with democracy. There's, like, I'm pretty sure there's a difference there. And the far left has hated capitalism. The far left has hated capitalism since well before World War I even happened. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
That are controlling our culture wish to instill. We live in the cult of the individual, and as a result, birth rates have plummeted. How am I meant to get that promotion at work if I have all these kids to look after? Everyone charges forward in the rat race without thinking twice. Almost no one can afford a house.
this is all just fucking. It's all just internet stuff, really.
Yeah, I'm also confused
I
by
hate
that.
to make it like.
Hold on, I gotta
I
bring
hate
that
to
back.
bring up the internet like a million times, especially since I make YouTube videos and I'm
Well,
on
yeah.
a fucking podcast is going to be put on YouTube. But all of the problems he stated, they're all horrible. Don't get me wrong, but they're not caused by World War II.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're caused by, like, they're caused by hyperinflation, bad calls made in the modern day. Like, they're caused by a combination of wars and lockdowns, none of which were necessary.
I'm pretty sure this dude supports the Nazis. Like I'm actually 99% sure at this point.
Yeah.
Waiting
it's-
for it.
I don't say that
He's got
like
a minute left to say it.
Well, hold on. I had to bring
like
it
I don't
back.
say this shit lightly. I fucking hate it when people accuse others of being Nazis.
Right? Like, no.
There's so many alarms going off right now. Like, oh, he's a big fan of militarism, but he didn't want the Nazis to be the victim of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's really weird.
So
But no, but like, I had to bring it back for a sec because he said something weird, and I don't know if I like fucking tripped my balls or if like the video skipped or something. So
As a result, birth rates have plummeted. How am I meant to get that promotion at work if I have all these kids to look after?
what does that have to do with what you were saying? Also,
No, he's
having
saying
kids
that
to look
people
after is a
just-
good thing.
he's saying like, oh, people are more focused on their jobs than fucking and sucking.
Which is kind of true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like the
I
thing
don't know.
is, like,
I'd
there's a
honestly say
perfectly
that like.
there's a perfectly
I'd
good
honestly
reason to ask that question. It's like, oh no, I need a promotion to get more money, but I also have these kids to look after. What do I do? It's like that's like a normal thing. That's a normal thing. Like that's been the stereotype of the dad for since as long as the nuclear family has been on television. Like that's such a weird example to use. Like maybe if he had made the argument, because this one is actually like a silly dichotomy. Oh, I can't have children because I'm too busy building my career. You know, had he
Really,
used
the
that
way I
example
think
as
this-
like being focused on the individual, but instead he used an example of someone who has children, someone who has already made the sacrifices for those children to grow up.
I really think the biggest reason why this has become such a popular thing in our nation is just because inflation. Having a good job is really important nowadays,
Well, yeah, yeah, that's part of it. Another part of it
and
is
all around, honest, like the idea of just like an honest job that's been going away for a while, way before World War One.
Oh yeah,
It's
because
becoming more and more of just get like a smart job that'll make you money. It's not a matter of long days honest work anymore.
Mhm.
It's more like become a doctor or something.
Yeah, and a big part of that is because like corporations are only interested in their money. They're not interested in the employees. Like that's nothing new. And I'm a staunch capitalist, and I'm levying this criticism. So, like that's nothing new, man. That's a
Yeah.
problem that we've been facing for ever since we could choose our jobs.
Yeah.
Everyone
Like-
charges
Price of-
forward in the rat race without thinking twice.
The price of choice is no choice at all. Hashtag deep.
Almost no
I'm
one can afford a
working
house
on
or live a
this
happy life, yet they continue to try to climb the ladder, kicking those below them in the head on their way up. We have opened the floodgates to immigration to make up the shortfall in births, and a growing number
That has-
Oh no!
that
I don't
has
like where this
nothing
is
to do
going.
with
I
World
really
War
don't like where this
II.
is
That has
I
nothing
really
to do
don't
with
like
World
where
War
this is
II.
going.
That's just
Oh, let it play.
Brought it.
Let it play. He's gonna say it.
I don't like what I.
aliens in their own nations,
not-
aliens in their oh my god, holy shit.
kicking those below them in the head on their way up. We have opened the floodgates to immigration to make up the shortfall in births, and a growing number of people feel like aliens in their own nations. Western Europe and North America especially.
Yeah, he's a
Nah.
Nazi. I'm sorry.
Based.
I'm
That was
I'm
based.
sorry.
No.
Well,
No,
no,
that
no,
was
no,
basic.
because
No.
I'm. Hey,
It's the way
listen,
it works.
I'm kind of in the camp that we
Trying to
shouldn't let
replace
immigrants in
these.
because if we do, we're not going to be helping boost the economy because those people are going to be stuck in the exact same fucking situation as all the natives or natural
The rest of
borns.
us, yeah.
Like they're going to be stuck in that same situation. Only, which means that once America runs out of natural borns and is only bringing in immigrants, which I don't think that's ever going to happen 100%, but you know what I mean. That means that all those other countries are going to have the same population decline. That's the math's already been done. The math has already been done. The human population, it's gonna hit 9 billion maybe, and then it's gonna decrease back down to 8 billion by 2050.
So this dude just he just parroted the Great Replacement theory.
Yeah, no, I know.
Like he's I don't think he's using that minute very well.
Mm-mm.
No. But I'm holding out. Come on.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm not even anti-immigration. I just want people to be put into better situations. And my solution isn't close the borders. World War II was run by the, won by the wrong side. My solution is just, hey, how about we just fix our economy instead of bringing in a bunch of new people who will never have children?
Mm-hmm.
How about we focus
Okay,
on building the family
Or,
and giving
or
people
have a
something
lot
to
of
fight
or
for?
have a lot of children against people's will.
I was trying to say that I disagree with the sentiment that immigrants don't have children.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
they,
whole,
dude, they fucking breed like goddamn rabbits.
Well,
What are you talking
no. Here's the thing. A lot of immigrants end up not being able to pay for those children and end up stuck in the same situation as the average American.
Yeah, but like
Because
motherfuckers,
of
you know
the
what an
economy.
anchor baby is, right?
Yeah.
A what?
An anchor baby?
Anchor baby. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
My
The thing is, well,
my
to be
mom's
fair
side
though,
has
the specific story that I have in mind is more about like Nepalese because Nepal has a very different culture from Mexico.
Sure. Better.
Yeah, also because it's a lot further away, there's a lot more restricted resources. Meanwhile, with Mexico, you can kind of just cross the border and have a baby.
I like Nepal more than Mexico because it's further away.
it looks peaceful in Nepal.
It really does.
No drugs.
All that snow.
No annoying music. No
They got
trying
nice
to
music
act
in
like.
Nepal.
I'm sure they do. It probably sounds nothing like the bootleg hip hop they have playing on the border.
No overindulgence in spices to cover up the taste of their rancid meat.
I like how we're
Man,
talking
like,
about
that's-
this and there's a man dying on screen.
This is what he fought for.
Also, I
like
find
a
it
balls
hilarious
out.
how he flip flopped from our love our contempt towards his strange immigration theories to just hating on Mexicans for
Just
for being in
contempt
this
for
country.
Mexico. Fuck that place.
Listen, Hitler was right about some things.
Even a broken clock.
I don't know, bro. His country in World War One, they kind of wanted Mexico to
That
help
is
them
fuck.
out.
That is
So
true. That is true.
Make up the shortfall in births, and a growing number of people feel like aliens in their own nations. Western Europe and North America especially looks like a shell of its former self. Whatever those troops fought for on the Allied side, it certainly wasn't this. Maybe it was, but
Oh,
does he know? Does he know?
does he know
Okay,
what?
first of all, let's cover the elephant in the room. You had all of the soldiers from the colonized nations. You had all the soldiers, all the black soldiers from America, all of the Hispanics and all the Asians trying to get better rights. You had, plenty of people. I'm sure there were plenty of whites within the U.S. Army that believed that everything that Germany was doing was wrong because, you know, they were fucking ethno-nationalists.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were, of course, the U.S. soldiers that found out about the camps.
Yeah, Jesus.
What
Those
camps?
people were fucking horrified.
And
And
here's
keep
the
in mind that there's plenty of anti-Semitism in the U.S. at the time.
yeah, like
There were plenty of soldiers that were fighting for freedom.
when you
In
do
fact,
something.
that's kind of our tagline.
Yeah, when you
I'm,
do
I'm
something that is so heinous and evil that the normal people that agree with you go, yo, what the fuck, you need to calm down and rethink their goddamn lives, then you know you fucked up. You did something bad. Also,
yeah,
like,
it's
I'm reminded of that video of the old Marine who cried because this country isn't what it used to be.
not what our
And
boys fought for.
yeah, and people, he was like, this isn't the country that we fought for. People thought he was being racist and stuff, but then he, like, literally in the next breath said, like, we don't have, the young people don't have the same opportunities that my generation had. It's tragic. And
To be fair, he might have meant that the Mexicans were taking their jobs.
he could have, but I doubt it, because he seems the kind of guy to understand that there's clearly more to it going on than just that.
No, yeah, there's
Because that, well,
there's
it's
two
just
types
basic
of veterans.
reality.
There's this country isn't what I thought what it used to be. And then
Yeah.
there's this country isn't what I thought it used to be, but racist. I think he was the first one.
Yeah, because like he was literally talking about like job opportunities and like having money and stuff. You know?
No, yeah, it's
But the thing
as
is,
being
that's not
wealthy.
World War II's fault because America came out the fucking superpower of after World War II. You know what it is the fault of? Complacency, stupidity, incompetence in. I was gonna say in court, like it's a fucking kingdom, but in Congress, people being like, "Oh, just print more money. That'll." Ugh.
The government taking away our trust of them.
Yeah, by doing really shitty and heinous things, like installing a Catholic in Vietnam, which eventually forced us to join a war that we had, frankly, no business being involved in. Conducting shady
Yep,
shit,
same for
spying on its
Iraq.
own citizens, starting multiple wars that had nothing to do with disasters that befell us. Like, is it any fucking wonder? Like, granted, we're speaking from the American perspective, not the British perspective, like this guy is trying to. But I really don't think that this guy is correct in either case, especially since a lot of the arguments that he's making come from an American perspective. Now, don't get me wrong, it is still hard to find a place to live in Britain. And they are doing the same thing over there that the U.S. is doing here with, like, instead of encouraging families to be able to, be like, hey, have more children, have some tax breaks and stuff. Instead of doing that, they're being, oh, we'll just bring in more immigrants. Like, Britain is suffering those same issues, so it's probably fair enough that he used those as examples. But still, like, a lot of people bring this stuff up because most people who are on the internet are American.
Yeah.
Let's just be real. Maybe not like most globally, but like at least most in the Anglosphere. Because globally it might actually be the Chinese, but they're not on the same internet as the rest of us.
Yeah, I mean, globally, the Indians probably come close.
True, true.
I believe there's more Indians that own phones than they do cars. I think I heard a statistic like that somewhere.
Well, that's probably true in the United States too.
Wait, it actually might have been. I'll check. It might have been working water. I don't know. That's probably unlikely, but I'll see.
I can believe it.
India.
It's India. Half their
Um,
fucking water comes from the Ganges.
that's true. Ownership compared to water supply.
Oh God, is
Yep, more people in India, the world's second most crowded country, have access to a mobile telephone than to a toilet.
Jesus Christ. That's actually a little bit upsetting. That's tragic.
Damn.
They're not living down the allegations.
But it's almost as if they were fighting in someone else's interest. These come out regularly of the last living veterans from this war, those with the ability to overcome the need to justify their own actions anyway, who are happy to admit that the world has gone to hell, as the most famous of these clips puts it. The average D-Day stormer's opinions will get you locked up and the key for in a way if you express them in Europe today. These same men died for this cause, and they didn't even know it. They were lied to. Whoever really benefited from this war, I'll let you decide for yourselves. But as for
The Templars, the globalists. No. If we're talking about like long term, yeah, it's the globalists. But in terms of like why the war was fought, it was absolutely people who loved liberty. It's just the issue is that the people in charge of the people who loved liberty ended up taking advantage of the trust that World War II built. And that's a post hoc argument, buddy. I'm not sure that you could really say that when you, especially since your original argument was probably the strongest, yet somehow the stupidest.
He has 28 seconds to say it.
the point, all I can really say is that beyond a shadow of a doubt, the Second World War was not only not worth fighting, but it cost us our civilization and way of living. It's time to rethink how we view the Second World War.
And then nowadays, I am so upset that the things we did and the things we fought for and the boys that died for it, it's all gone down the drain. Our country's gone to hell in a handbasket.
Well,
That
he
was
didn't
the-
say it.
That was the video that I was literally referencing.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he didn't say, "Oh, we should have never fought." No, he's expressing regret that the country has turned into something that no
He's
longer
saying it
represents
went
what
to
he believes
waste,
in.
not that it shouldn't
Fuck
have
you.
happened.
Fuck you, you disingenuous shitbag. Like, actually, imagine twisting the words of someone who went through hell and was clearly, can still see it in his fucking eyes, saw his fucking friends get their heads blown off by Japanese guns, and you're gonna take his words and fucking twist them into something sick and disgusting like that. Fuck you. Actually burn in hell.
I don't believe in hell, but I hope that it retroactively spawns into existence just for you.
Actually, straight up, yes. I will Kishibe Rohan versus Cheap Trick this motherfucker. I don't know if hell exists, but I hope it does so I can write this down, you know?
Yeah, I hope I can cut the balls off of every wereaboo in existence, assuming they still have them.
Oh, fucking hell.
Oh.
Well, that was a good video.
No, it wasn't. It was terrible.
Shut the fuck up.
That was miserable. That was
That was
horrible.
cancerous.
That was
That
actually
has
awful.
mentally and physically scarred me.
No, that was the
Oh.
worst thing I'd had to sit through since my divorce. But at least something good happened after my divorce.
Oh.
This guy is very stupid,
Yeah.
as well
Oh,
as
really?
what's the word for what is
disingenuous?
the word? Yeah, that as well as lacking in any sort of information regarding this topic. He's very
Or just empathy in general.
Uneducated somehow.
yeah.
Yeah, and East is right. Like, imagine blaming another country for getting invaded because they said no, we're not gonna let you have that.
Exactly. Like that's just that's wrong. And
Yeah. Like you could maybe even make a successful argument that Winston Churchill is a warmonger. I'm not sure how well you could succeed, but let's say that hypothetically. That doesn't mean that retroactively, defending, another country's liberty and autonomy from violent invaders is a bad thing. That just makes Winston Churchill a warmonger. You know? Like, just because one person is bad doesn't mean that the cause they fought for is also bad.
Right.
And just because a person is good doesn't mean that the cause they fought for is good. Like, war is all kinds of complex.
I really love the logic here. It's like dudes nowadays are mostly virgins. Therefore, we should have just let the Aryan Brotherhood just take over.
To be fair, that was the
We
logic
need
of
an
the
Aryan
latter half of the
utopia
video.
ASAP, guys. Desperately.
Yeah, this.
That way everybody can have their beautiful trad wives with their blonde hairs and their blue eyes.
with their
Massive
blonde
tits.
hairs and their blue eyes.
You know what's really disappointing though? This video has 7.6 thousand likes and only 1,500 dislikes.
To be fair, that's not a very good ratio. But it should be
Oh,
negative. It should be in the negatives.
Yeah, this is really bad.
Oh, but yeah, I'll say this: if it's a 7-to-1 dislike ratio, then that means that you didn't do a very good job convincing everybody.
Hold on, let me. 7.6 divided by 1.4. That's 5.428 blah 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 blah. So like 5 times the number of people that disliked the video liked it, which is still really disappointing.
Oh yeah, but still, it's not as it's really not as good as you'd think.
Like and subscribe.
I did. The second comment is literally Nazi shit.
is it really?
Yeah, the first comment is we are all living in Weimar. The second comment, General Patton said it and died for saying it. We fought the wrong country. We fought the wrong enemy.
Wow.
Let's see. The phrase "rootless
Wow.
international clique" comes to mind. I don't know what that means.
Like,
Same thing.
yeah, no,
It's
But-
spelled French, so I'm gonna pronounce it French.
okay.
That's in everything French.
A book called The Unknown Warrior by Nicholas Pringle was based on him collecting hundreds of accounts of British soldiers who participated in World War II. The consensus was a feeling of regret at having even bothered to fight at all, a deep worry about what kind of country their grandchildren will inherit, despair at the collapse of morals and community, feeling like strangers in their own towns and cities. This was in 2005. What would they think today? So it wasn't taken during or after the war. It was taken at a time where there was massive amounts of change and strife. Awesome. Cool. With a few excerpts from the book. Yes, I served 6 years for this country. For what? It's a pity Hitler did not get here. If I had my time over again, I would never have gone. Okay, so hundreds out of how many thousands?
Hundreds of thousands.
Perhaps millions? Yeah, a lot of this is just like I hate using this phrase because of how leftist it is, but this is all really just like Nazi and like Nazi adjacent shit. Yeah, we fought the wrong enemy. This is oh no. Oh no, one of the videos that's now being recommended to me is the Lebensraum myth. Were Germany's pre-war conquests justified? This dude's actually straight up just a fucking neo-Nazi.
That is
The we'd all be speaking German myth. Jesus Christ. This is horrendous.
that is just baffling.
How do you call yourself the Zoomer historian and come out with takes like this?
That is I That's just bad. That is just
You know what's fucked?
bad.
Now that I've seen this, YouTube's gonna keep recommending it to me, which sucks because I only saw it because YouTube recommended it to me. Why did YouTube think I would like this? Yeah, evidently, Jesus fucking Christ. But I like us making this very fucking video in the nature that it is like inherently anti-Nazi. Well, I guess Zoomer historian isn't an inaccurate title because well, he's got the fucking intelligence and yeah, like there was another video that we had lined up, but I do not have the fucking energy for it. That too. Yeah. There was too much to dissect in this because it was full of shit. Good night, everybody. I'm gonna go back home and fuck my black wife.